A brilliant young surgeon inherits his famous grandfather's Transylvanian estate. Soon Frederick Frankenstein falls foul of the nonsensical ravens of a lunatic mind and brings a dead mute back to life. An incredibly big mute. Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder's lovingly crafted parody of the Universal Frankenstein films became one of the funniest films ever made, an inch-perfect homage that taught Hollywood you can salute the genre and skewer it in the same breath. My name is Luke, and joining me for a Rollins the Hay are Westy.
I was going to make espresso.
And Matt.
Put the candle back.
All the right movies are in Transylvania, raising the platform and giving our creation life! Hi everyone, welcome to All the Right Movies, a podcast on classic and hit films that is only interested in the preservation of life.
Lovely.
We're telling the story of Hollywood one film at a time, and on today's show we've got one of the greatest comedy movies ever made.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah. A record-holding comic juggernaut, so we have the sedatives at the ready, just in case it gets a little too exciting.
Oh, yes. Absolutely, yeah. I'll be normal standing by.
Sedative! Now, before we have a nice, quiet chit about young Frankenstein.
Yes.
Here is a chance for you to throw the switch and join the secret world of All the Right Movies by becoming a patron of the show.
Lovely.
Yes, indeed. Now, if this is your first time with us, a very warm welcome.
Hello.
The show that you're listening to is our flagship podcast, out every 2 weeks, and only the most recent 20 episodes are on general release. The rest sit in our Patreon archive, and there are now well over 100 episodes in there.
Wow.
Bursting at the seams.
Absolutely.
We also produce 2 brand new shows every month exclusive for patrons. The Watch List is our movie review show where we cover new releases as they come out. And Double Feature is the show where we cover 2 films that haven't quite earned their place on the main show yet.
Yes.
All
yes.
opinion-based, no research, just the 3 of us riffing on a couple of films that we love.
Yes, definitely.
A great format, so check that out. For full access to all of that, go to patreon.com/alltherightmovies or support us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the main show and YouTube and Patreon for everything we've ever made.
Yes, absolutely.
Quite a tomb we have in there.
Definitely. All the original props are in there.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the show. Why are we talking about Young Frankenstein? Now, this was my pick.
Yes.
So it's a film that I always liked but never loved. That is until we covered it on our double feature show when we talked about this and Blazing Saddles a few years back.
Yeah.
Yep. A great show. And the film just clicked with me. Well, it was the overwhelming winner for the show for good reason. All 3 of us picked it.
Yes, we did, yeah.
And that's why we're talking about it now. I just loved everything about it on that rewatch. I was looking for an excuse to watch it again. And honestly, once we wrapped on that show, I was looking forward to doing a deep dive into the film immediately.
Right. Nice,
So this has been a quite long time coming. I think it really is one of the greatest comedy films ever made. It's gag after gag. It's incredible set design, homage to the classic Universal horror tales of the 30s. And it includes, for my money, one of the greatest comedy performances. Wilder's Frederick Frankenstein is one of the best.
Oh, yeah, it's flawless.
He's incredible.
So, incredibly excited about this one.
Yeah.
Now, Westy, you've said a dirty word in your time, haven't you?
Well, 1 or 2. I mean, wouldn't hold that against us, let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, this is just a great film. Again, I've become more and more fond of it as the years have gone on. And just like you, I think, Luke, it was that double feature episode that really made us sit up. It existed, but I just thought, another pastiche, Young Frankenstein. I look at the front cover of the DVD and I think, can I be bothered to sit through this one? It's a Mel Brooks film, but it's so much more than that. It's a real appreciation of the period, a real appreciation of the genre. It's a very intelligent film. I think the comedy lands exactly where it needs to. It's very considered, very carefully thought through. It's definitely my favourite Mel Brooks film. Out of all 11 of them, I think. I've seen all, and I think it's because it's the least Mel Brooks of all the Mel Brooks films, and I think that's probably to its benefit and to his benefit as well, because this is a real collaboration with Gene Wilder, and I think this is very much a Gene Wilder film, just as much as it is Mel Brooks. It's very, very funny. It's very, very well paced. I don't think there's a minute where I'm not entertained, and there's certainly not a minute where I have to wait for the next laugh. I think they're lined up beautifully, they're lined up perfectly, and I think if you're an appreciation of cinema, especially the Universal Hollywood era, then this one's definitely up there as an appreciation, definitely up there as a great film. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things to talk about with this. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And Matt, darling,
Yes.
surprised? Love me?
Love me?
Why are we talking about Young Frankenstein, Matt?
Well, I've been aware of this one from a kid, really, because it was one my parents watched a lot, and watching it as a kid, it's very different watching it as an adult. Like, as a kid, it was just like, all right, I understand this character. I know what Frankenstein's monster is, so that's great. And it looks like the old iconic creature, and that's great. Some of the jokes that did go over my head as a kid, I was more into the kind of slapstick stuff. Everything with Igor is really funny. But it is one where the more you come back to it, the more of the jokes you get and the funnier it gets. And it's just always been up there for me. I think it deserves its status. As you said, it's a double feature winner. Quite rightly, I mean, I think probably said this when we did it, it's just got a level of sophistication that Blazing Saddles doesn't have. And I think, as Wesley says, I think a lot of that's down to Gene Wilder. So we'll get into all of that, and it should just be an absolute barrel of laughs to get into.
Yes, it certainly will. I can't wait for this one.
Yeah,
definitely.
So Young Frankenstein was co-written by Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks, based on Mary Shelley's legendary 19th century novel, and directed by Brooks himself. Produced by Michael Gruskoff for Gruskoff Venture Films, and distributed by 20th Century Fox into theatres on the 15th of December 1974. Shot exclusively on sets of Fox Studios in LA, it stars Gene Wilder as the Good Doctor, and he's supported by Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman, Terry Garr, Peter Boyle, Cloris Leachman, and Kenneth Mars.
Wow, yeah, what a cast.
Incredible cast.
Yeah.
We're headed to the classroom of one Dr. Frederick Frankenstein, who is teaching a masterclass in the central nervous system and getting incredibly annoyed by one of his students. Dun, dun, dun.
The beginning.
We open with a long, drawn-out credit sequence slowly pushing into Castle Frankenstein, where some of Baron von Frankenstein's personal effects are taken from his tomb. A glorious transition, and we're with the brilliant surgeon Frederick Frankenstein. Westy, you're starting us off.
Yeah, how good are the titles before I get into this?
Incredible.
Titles are
amazing.
Unreal. How good is that 20th Century Fox logo on black and white as well? Absolutely amazing. Sets the tone lovely. The music's absolutely brilliant over the opening titles. But this is still, I mean, apart from Raiders, I think this is probably one of my favourite introductions to a character ever. I just absolutely love how straight Wilder is playing this.
Yeah.
And it's just all the information's coming out. It's very scientific. You know, the medulla oblongata, just the way he pronounces things. It's just automatically funny. And we've got this, you know, this jumped up kid who's played by Danny Goldman, who just stands up and he's Dr. Frankenstein. He turns around, it's Frankenstein, that close up. And he spins around and it's that beautiful kind of soft focus and that classic lighting. And he's just straight away, you know exactly where you are with it. But Danny Goldman's great. I mean, he's such a dick, but he's so brilliant. But he's the voice of Brainy Smurf from the Smurfs. He did like 130 odd episodes of it.
Wow.
So I know that voice from somewhere.
Wow.
As we're going, he's asking the questions, and we're talking about the nervous system, we're talking about the brain, we're talking about really intense things, and it's still pretty funny. And then the wheel in Mr. Hilltop, and you think, with the little tap with the gong, and I just love that. It's just so unnecessarily funny. Yeah. And he just wheels him in, and you just think, well, what's going to happen with this guy? And he stood up, and he's like, raise your left knee, that comes up. And then you just have this real run off from Wilder where he's just rattling off all of this dialogue, and it's so incredibly intricate, and he's just so believable as this surgeon who knows what he's talking about. And it's like he's almost forgetting to be funny, and then all of a sudden you get, you filthy rotten yellow son of a bitch. And then,
where's that come from? Mr. Hilltop's face.
And Hilltop's like, and it didn't work, and you just again, and then he's just straight back to playing it straight, involuntary reaction, the nerve impulse, and then he's like, you mother grabbing bastard, and then it's again comes from absolutely nowhere. Just them two moments, absolutely fantastic. The wheel Hilltop out, he's done for. Give him an extra $1. Love that little line. Just so brilliant. And then he's answering the questions, he's winding up, and then you just get one of the most Gene Wilder moments in the film, I think, for me. And he's got to hit it hard and know exactly what you're going with this character. And just this really explosive moment when he's talking about his relationship with Frankenstein, and he's a cook, and he's just starting to scream, and he picks that scalpel up, and you know something's going to be going wrong with it. And he's just got over the top and lost his mind, and the only thing that concerns me is the preservation of life, and it's straight into the leg, and I buckle every time that goes in there because it's that
his
moment.
reaction.
And he just looks and he's like, oh, and he takes his hand off. You think that's not stuck. It takes his hand off, and it's just stuck
It's
there.
in his thigh.
Hand back around, and then the leg goes back over, just covering it up. And he just continues, and he's like, "Class dismissed." It's great.
It's hilarious. I love that he really sticking to this Frankenstein bit, even when he's got a scalpel in his thigh. He still corrects the guy.
He's not budging.
Hearts and kidneys are tinker toys.
Are you talking about the worm or the spaghetti?
Well, actually, there's a lovely little reference buried in this scene, and as you've just mentioned it there, Westy, Frederick mentions an experiment by Darwin where a worm was preserved in fluid until it came to life. Yeah. It's not a fictional reference. It's actually mentioned in Mary Shelley's foreword to her novel, Frankenstein.
Right.
And the Darwin in question is Erasmus Darwin, who was the grandfather of the much more ballyhooed Charles Darwin.
Right.
Okay.
Basis in real world.
Which makes it funny, though.
It does make it funny.
The level of detail really adds
amazing
to the humour.
So he's got the will. He knows he's got an inheritance to go for, so he sets off on this train journey, and it's here when we get, I think, two of the finest comic supporting performances I've ever seen in my life. I mean, one after another. I mean, first of all, Madeline Kahn, when is she not the best thing in the film? The answer's never. She's always the best thing in any film. And she's used sparingly here, but it's like Mel Brooks uses her like she's a hand grenade. He just lobs her into a scene. And she just explodes and takes everything with it and just dominates. I mean, this scene, taffeta, darling, just taffeta, darling. Even as a kid, when I didn't understand what taffeta was, I still found that line funny because she makes it funny. But the dialogue between them when they're saying goodbye, it's so deliberately like overwrought and saccharine. But that's because she will then undercut it beautifully. You know, how can I say in a few minutes what has taken me a lifetime to understand? Won't you try? All right. You've got it, mister. The poetry in that, you've got it, mister. That's all you can think of.
It's just amazing. One thing after the other. It's like not the lips, not the hair, not the nails.
Yeah. Every time he goes in, forgets the hair, oh, the nails. Just to end up rubbing elbows with each other. That's the only thing they can touch.
Yeah. A great moment at the end of that scene as well, when when all the steam kicks up from the train, she starts coughing. It's just that way. It's amazing. That Madeline Kahn ended up playing Elizabeth, but the original plan was for Kahn to play Inga. She changed her mind during the casting process and went for Elizabeth instead.
Yeah, I mean, she's used sparingly, like you said, Matt, but she's incredible. You love it when the conductor's shouting all aboard, and she's like, "Oh, there's that horrid man again."
Doing his job.
Just doing his job. I love that she dodges an air kiss as well.
Really nervous, the hair. And when Frederick is traveling from America to Transylvania, he overhears an American couple bickering. And then in the very next scene on the train through Europe, Frederick hears a couple having the exact same conversation word for word, but this time it's in German.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, a deep cut. You wouldn't know that if you didn't speak German.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
But America to Transylvania on train.
That is always hilarious. It's just the way they do it, though. It's like New York, anyone from New York, people from New York, and it's like Transylvania.
Transylvania
next day.
Yeah, amazing. And it's just like the camera doesn't move, the frame doesn't move at all. No. So for the long train journey, Brooks used stock night travel shot for the American exteriors, but for the Transylvanian leg, Brooks wanted like a stark black, leafless trees and low-hanging fog, but no stock footage of that kind existed, obviously. So they built one. Production designer Dale Hennessy conceived of a forest set 40 feet deep and 100 feet long.
That's incredible. Wow. He didn't scrimp on the production design.
Not at all. For what? Like, that must be about a minute's worth of footage.
Yeah, well, they laid a dolly track parallel to it and undercranked the camera to 8 frames per second.
Right, okay.
And the dolly grip ran along the track. And the result, when projected at 24 frames per second, was a 30-mile-an-hour landscape, but the actual footage was only 12 feet long, which gave them around 8 seconds.
Right.
So to get more footage, they placed a large tree trunk at the start and the end of the dolly track. Both were close to the lens. So as the tree trunk filled the screen, they just repeated the footage.
It looks legit.
It totally does, yeah.
Yeah, you don't notice any break, obviously. It's great.
No. And then you get to the end of this journey, which is this other comic performance. I mean, this introduction of Marty Feldman. The great thing about it is it's perfectly set up as an absolute moment of actual horror because you got the billowing fog and smoke that sound of something like scraping towards Frederick and that slow
yeah.
pushing on his face, the crash of lightning. It's a proper like universal horror moment. It's a brilliant introduction. But then it's Igor, and there's just two moments of genius here. I mean, the conversation they get into over Frederick pronouncing it Frankenstein, which Igor really takes umbrage at. And, you know,
he does.
Frederick tries to calm it down. Oh, so you must be Igor. No, it's pronounced Igor.
He just digs his heels in.
Yeah,
for no
but they
reason.
told me he was Igor. They were wrong then, weren't they? I mean, that line. I try to get that in a conversation as often as I can to see who gets it. I just love the delivery. They were wrong then, weren't they? And like, that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Done.
Yeah.
And then the second bit is when Frederick gives him that kind of friendly clap on the back, but he hits someone. It just makes that like dull thud.
Yeah.
And it's really awkward. And Frederick says, I don't mean to embarrass you, but I'm a rather brilliant surgeon. Perhaps I could help you with that hump. What hump? Right, end of that conversation as well, then, is it?
That's done.
Just the straight face. What hump?
It's just when he challenging the script. Do you say Frederick? No.
Yeah.
Well, why did you say Frederick?
Why didn't you say Frederick Frankenstein?
Frederick Frankenstein.
It is.
It's great.
Yeah.
And obviously the walk this way gag is a classic.
Classic, yeah.
It's an old vaudeville joke which Brooks thought was a bit crap in the edit, but he kept it in after test audiences loved it.
I think it's great.
Yeah, you need it.
So that gag also has one of the most surprising real-world legacies. In 1974, Aerosmith were recording their album Toys in the Attic and hit a creative wall. We know where this is going. I think we know where this is going. Run DMC saw the film. Aerosmith were recording Toys in the Attic and hit a creative wall one night during the sessions. Most of the band, minus guitarist Joe Perry, because he probably would have taught them out of it, decided to nip to the cinema nearby for a break. The film playing was Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, so when they got back to the studio, Perry said the rest of the band were already throwing lines from the film back and forth and laughing about the moment. Marty Feldman tells Wilder to walk this way, and so was their producer Jack Douglas, who said that Walk This Way might be a great title for a song.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, it was a hit in 2 decades, 2 different decades, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It's a great song.
So I'm picking up where Frederick makes his way to the castle. He's left the train station with Igor. Firstly, what is Inga doing just silent in the freezing cold, not making a sound at the back of that horse and cart?
Having fun rolling in here.
Another
Be
great
warming
gag.
here.
Would you like a roll in here?
Roll in here.
Roll. It's fun, yeah? And this sets the benchmark for what to expect between Frederick and Inga's relationship. It's one innuendo-laden remark after another all the way through, one overtly obvious sexual reference after another. It's laid on immediately that these two will be doing the bad thing later.
Yeah.
And it's just great fun.
Yeah.
It is great fun.
She just lays it on really thick that she wants to sleep with them.
She's having a great time though in this film. She's having a wonderful one. She just lights up the screen every time she's on. It's absolutely
She's
brilliant.
incredible, Terry Garr.
So funny.
So with Madeline Kahn playing Elizabeth, it opened the door for Terry Garr to play Inga.
She had originally auditioned for Elizabeth. She'd done multiple callbacks for it before being told that Kahn had decided to take it after all. Brooks asked her if she could come back and read for Inga instead, but with one catch. Inga was German. Could God do a German accent by tomorrow?
Well, she didn't panic because by an absolute fluke, she happened to be part of the Sonny and Cher comedy hour at the time.
Right.
The wig stylist on the show was German. So Garth spent about an hour just chatting to her, making small talk, soaking up the rhythms and the vowel sounds. And by the time she left the dressing room, she said she walked out going, "Mein Gott, this wig weighs 40 pounds."
Boom! Got the part.
Done.
That's all you need.
But she also had a slight figure problem. As she put it, she'd realised reading the script that the part of Inga was, in her words, really all about boobs. And she had a slight problem in that department, but wasn't about to let it get in her way. So when she turned up to the audition the next day, she was wearing a fuzzy pink sweater with a bra stuffed with several pairs of socks. And Brooks gave her the part on the spot.
Of course he did.
Yes.
So then on the way to the castle, something that Brooks does all the way through this film, build an atmosphere and tension with gag after gag on top of it as well. The dry eyes creating this unsettling classic horror movie setting, the howl of a wolf in the distance, then this ludicrous werewolf, their wolf gag.
That's great.
Wolf, their castle.
Yeah, that's just
Why are you talking
wonderful.
like that? I thought you wanted me to.
I thought you wanted me to. You know, they're wolf howls or Mel Brooks.
The Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep himself out of it, could he?
No, he couldn't. No. Then they see the castle in the distance, and I got points. There it is. And then cut to this macabre looking structure.
Yeah.
And then he goes, home.
Brilliant.
In that one word, he's able to convey such affection for this place. Great delivery. Wonderful juxtaposition with the visual of the crash and thunder and the dramatic music cue. Home.
Yeah. Massive influence on Robert Eggers, this film.
Yeah. Loves it. And finally, one of the most juvenile gags in the film, in any film, and it's glorious.
It's wonderful.
That's amazing, though, yeah.
Go and knocks at the door. Frederick, what knockers? Inga, oh, thank you, doctor.
It's his placement as well, 'cause he's halfway carrying it out of the back.
Yeah. It's just spilling out already.
Yeah, it's so funny.
She says thank you, and he says, you're welcome. The gag wasn't scripted, according to Wilder. Brooks just told him on the day, when you lift her out of the car, look at the knockers and say, what knockers?
Yeah.
It lands. It's great.
It really
It
does.
totally lands.
So we're finally at Castle Frankenstein. I wonder who will be inside the door.
Mm-hmm.
Housekeeper Frau Blucher opens the door, and in keeping with the setting, is an unsettling sight. We're talking about Victor's first night in the castle and finding his grandfather's laboratory.
Nice.
Firstly, another classic Brooks gag. The reaction the horses have to Frau Blucher's name is glorious.
Yeah.
The story Brooks initially told Cloris Leachman was that her character's name was close to the German word for glue.
Right.
So getting that kind of a reaction to that word from a horse is a
Right.
hilarious
That
deep
makes
cut.
sense.
Wow, that
Yes,
is a deep cut.
That
yes.
is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But years later, Leachman said she still wasn't sure whether Brooks was joking or not, or whether he was genuinely misinformed because the actual German word for glue is clever.
Right.
Okay. And when we go inside, the music blows up and we see the majesty of this castle. An incredible set. If you go
Yeah.
back and watch the 1931 Frankenstein, this looks like the same set.
It does.
Yeah.
That's the kind of attention to detail that you'd be forgiven for thinking that Mel Brooks wasn't really bothered about in his work.
Yeah.
But this is incredible.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really is.
And the production designer on Young Frankenstein was Dale Hennessy. He created the sets on Fox's Stage 5 near Century City, LA. It was 15,000 square feet with walls 35 foot high. The reception hall alone had 15-foot doors and a fireplace that measured 6 feet by 10. And the total bill for the sets came to $400,000.
They didn't scrimp on it.
No,
It shows as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Brooks described the castle as looking like it was made from sweat and stone, like it was in the mountains where mist had settled on the surface, leaving it all wet. You get that atmosphere
Oh,
on it.
totally do, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you've got the moment where Blucher is leading them up the stairs. And Brooks said it was one of the hardest scenes to shoot, which is quite strange if you watch it. Not technically, but because Gene Wilder found it hilarious when Inga says that the staircase can be treacherous. Leachman said as she turned to deliver the line, she'd see Wilder's face just split in two laughing. They needed 15 takes to get it.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. Leachman said that everything she did in the film just tickled Gene to bits.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when she says follow the candles and the candles aren't even lit.
Yeah. The stairways can be quite treacherous.
Treacherous. Follows the candles.
And then we're upstairs in Frederick's room, and it all becomes stranger still. Cloris Leachman is incredibly measured and methodical in her delivery, offering the good doctor a brandy, some warm milk, perhaps? No, thank you very much. Ovaltine. And Wilder takes a long pause before snapping at her. Nothing. Thank you. I'm a little tired. And I will say good night. Good night.
Good night.
That warm milk dialogue was improvised by Cloris Leachman as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, that's great stuff.
It's
so funny.
Yeah, so after a bizarre dream, we hear some music. It's behind the bookcase. So he gets to investigate. I mean, this moment between the two of them, I mean, this is just some great slapstick, some great physical comedy, and just really great use of the set and just really great use of the detail of the set. Or it's like, you've got to reach for the right device or something like that. He goes, aha, and pulls the book out. It's not
And nothing happens yet.
and then slowly puts it back and says, we'll try the candle. And then when that candle comes out, the whole bookcase spins and he spins with it. And obviously it's over ramped and it's sped up, and that just adds to it as well. It's really good. Like this whole sequence, I was watching it and I was going, Spielberg's seen this and he's just put all of this in Last Crusade.
Definitely.
And the rats are in there. There's all that, coming down with the candle and following. It's just all kind of very, very, just rang a little bell with me. But it's like, put the candle back. And then when I heard that was a really funny line. But then it reminds us of Temple of Doom when it's like, we are going to die. And I'm like, how much of this is kind of just taking on Spielberg on this is absolute genius. I'm just taking this and this is where we're going to get the comedy from. But it's absolutely fantastic when he gets the idea to just block the bookcase with his body. Why do that? I thought this guy's a genius. But it's a perfect cut because you see him working towards it. You see where it's going to hit. And then it hits. And I almost wish this had cut a little bit later. But then it cuts back to Wilder, and it's still really funny. And it's just rush it and put all your weight behind it. And she goes round and she repeats the line, put the candle back.
That's great.
And then that's great.
I love her run and push on the bookcase.
Yeah, that's great. With all of her weight, and then she just gets in softly, kind of pushes it a little bit. It's just really funny. It just spins around. It's just that use of the set as well is great. But then when we actually see where they're walking down, and we're like, was this set just left from 1931? And it's just
so
got
incredible.
cobwebs in it.
Yeah.
And now we've just put a camera there. I can't believe we found this. We might as well make Young Frankenstein. That's how it feels. And it starts getting really kind of deep because you forget about that moment of slapstick and you're in this place and you have to take it seriously because it is so believable. And you're seeing like 1 year dead, 6 months dead, 3 months dead, freshly dead, and then it's Akiko, and he says, "Bow, I had a body," that little song. But it's just that initial like blast from Feldman when he's just bang, and it's just that jump scare. And you expect some music in there, and it's totally flat. They don't have any music whatsoever. It's ego. He says, "I go, Froderick." Back and forth, they're both getting the names wrong because it's just that kind of a moment.
There's that bit when they are coming down the stairs. And he's trying to comfort Inga. It's just a rat. A filthy, slimy rat.
That's wonderful. It's really Last Crusade, though.
It is.
So they follow the music, and then this is a moment, in Wesley's kind of touching on already, but it's when he realises the level of detail that's gone on here, the amount of money they've spent on a comedy, a spoof comedy as well, and how it's shot through with the love of the genre that it's spoofing, because the music's incredible. It's really spine-tingling, but it's that slow pullback that reveals all that cobwebbed equipment.
Incredible.
With that, kind of imaginary dialogue from Frederick's ancestors playing over the top. It's such an incredible shot. I mean, not the first time I've said this or will be saying it, but it's a moment where if you didn't know this was a comedy somehow, because there's no jokes in this little bit, you'd think this was a genuine universal horror.
Yeah.
You think that was definitely done in the 30s because it looks like it. But then obviously you get some wonderful dialogue here between Frederick and Igor. What a filthy mess. Oh, I don't know. Little paint, a few flowers, a couple of throw pillows. Just so funny. Yeah. Throw pillows is really, that just tickles me for some reason.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So
it's so specific.
Funny.
It's a really specific thing.
Like, how would he know what a throw pillow is?
Exactly.
Yeah. He's living in that place.
Home.
And then they find the reading room, and I just love how Wilder, he is so delightfully hammy throughout this scene, so dramatic when he finds something. Look at this, and the book's called "How I Did It" by Victor Frankenstein. And it just ends on that moment where he's so deranged. Inga and Igor are falling asleep because he's so enraptured in this book, and he's doing that heavy breathing. He's going through it all. It could work.
Wide-eyed Wilder. I love it.
And plays out such a straight face to balance all the comedy out, but then you just get that punch in of the gag at the end of that picture of his grandfather looking like delighted. Yeah, amazing.
That's great.
So good.
We talked about the authenticity of it. Brooks and his team wanted the lab to feel exactly like the 1931 original. And during pre-production, they made an incredible discovery. The man who had designed and built all of that original equipment was still alive. His name was Kenneth Strickfaden. He was in his 70s. He was living in Santa Monica, basically just down the road.
Yeah.
Not only was he alive, he had kept the entire lot in his garage. Incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
Brooks went over to see him. Strickfaden showed Brooks the gear. He flipped a switch and the whole thing fired up exactly as it had on the Universal sound stages in 1931. Just kept it all turned on in his garage. Amazing. How big's his fucking garage? After more than 4 decades sitting in the garage, the equipment still worked. Wonderful, wonderful
incredible.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then a wonderful touch by Brooks here, because he not only made a deal to rent the equipment, he gave Strickfaden the screen credit he'd never officially received on the original Frankenstein.
Wow.
4 decades just sitting in the garage. I couldn't even find my headphones this morning.
Strickfaden didn't just hand over the props and disappear. He came onto the set himself. He was present throughout the laboratory shoot, operating his own equipment, bringing his 43-year-old creations back to life. He also designed and built brand new pieces specifically for this film.
Wow. So good.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Brooks said, basically, he wouldn't have a film without that equipment.
Yeah. Oh, definitely
he
not.
wouldn't. Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked at all.
No.
So dramatic weight and Hollywood history all rolled into one hilarious first act of Young Frankenstein.
Amazing.
The director.
A first outing for the legendary Mel Brooks on our classic show, Not Before Time as well. This was the 4th film of his directorial career following The Producers, The 12 Stairs and Blazing Saddles. He also co-created classic TV show Get Smart.
Yes.
So he kept himself busy. He co-wrote this film, but first his work as director on Young Frankenstein. Westy.
I think he does a wonderful job as a director on this because he knows exactly what his influences were. You can tell that his heart's in the right place here. It's not just his brain. And I think a lot of the brain is Wilder and a lot of the heart is Mel Brooks.
I agree.
He brings a lot of just a real love of the genre. I think he saw the 1931 Frankenstein. He's 5 years old and went to the theatre to watch it with his brother. And it's like something from when you're 5, you've got to have a real love of it. All of the techniques that they use, they move the camera, it's for a reason. They move the camera, it's on a dolly track. They'll just go for a push-in. They don't just use a push-in, they use a zoom lens. There's some very Brooks moments in it. But I don't know if that's down to the writing or whether that's down to the direction. But I think Marty Feldman takes a lot of the Brooks kind of character. He breaks the fourth wall. He has them little slapstick moments, but I think he plays it better than Brooks ever could. If Brooks it wouldn't have worked at all. It would have just been the Mel Brooks show. And I think it's really great that he's not in the film and concentrates on the direction with all the other actors because he can give them his full attention. And that's what I feel he does here. It doesn't feel like he's distracted. It feels like he's completely focused on the characters. He's completely focused on what he's putting on the screen. He's even completely focused on the transitions. I mean, there's an iris in, iris out, there's wipes, there's fades, everything that would have been used in the Universal era.
There's even a love heart as well, isn't there?
Exactly. And that's a little play on that iris. It's like, well, how are you going to do an iris in, but just make it funny? How do you make it Mel Brooks? And it just feels like he's got a stamp on this, but it doesn't feel like it's permanent marker scribbled all over it with Mel Brooks initials on it. It just feels like it's part of a collaboration, which is why I really love it. There is some Brooks moments in there. There's a little bit of slapstick. There's a little bit of, you can tell with bits of his in the script that need to be put in there. He tries to make it a little bit more clever sometimes, and I think Wilder pulls it back and goes, no, this needs to be stupid, but seriously stupid. And there's them moments in it. I think he does a great job of directing it because this is his inspiration as a director, and he gets to do it for real.
Yeah, incredible stuff. You can see that he's got a real love for this genre.
Massive love of the period, massive love of the genre. It's just so good.
Yeah, very similar. I mean, I think sometimes Brooks spoofs something because he just wants to take the piss out of it. But I don't think that's the case here. I think,
not at all.
As we said, if you can somehow disregard the jokes and just look at kind of very small snippets, from a purely visual standpoint, you'd easily believe this came back from the Universal heyday.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, easy. Yeah,
Definitely. I mean, like Wesley mentioned the edits and the wipes. I mean, I think that slight hiss that you have on the audio, because audio recording back then was a lot more primitive. That's such an intricate little detail, but he's put it in there. And, we've mentioned the lab equipment. Brooks doesn't find any of that funny. He knows what's funny, and that's obviously in here, but he doesn't find those films as a genre funny. He completely respects the craft that went into them, and he wants to pay a tribute to it. So we know he's funny, and all that is on display here, wordplay, visual gag, slapstick, but it's all really disciplined. And I think, not for the first time, compare this to Blazing Saddles, which obviously came out the same year, so it's a very fair comparison.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get a sense from that Brooks loves Westerns that much.
No.
I think he's angry with them, quite frankly.
Yeah, angry, just wanted to take the piss. And, that is a funny film, but it's all over the place at the same time. This one is really tight, and it's got a discipline and a certain reverence to it, and that just makes it all more effective.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same as you guys. Unlike his usual approach to directing, this really is an outlier in the Brooks canon. There are no winks at the camera. Not really. No outrageous cameos. Not too many outrageous sight gags. Igor being the biggest of them all, obviously.
Yeah.
The reason that this hits better than anything in his career is because he plays it straight. And that's what all the best comedies do. If you look at the likes of Airplane, it's a ludicrous film, but it's played straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we talked about Ghostbusters, it's an amazing comedy, but it looks serious. And you've got serious talent behind the camera. Turn the volume down, and they look like dramatic films.
Yeah. American Werewolf's another one.
American Werewolf, absolutely. Yeah. And comedy in these situations plays so much differently, more impactful, just better. Looking at those opening credits, how dramatic, how drawn out.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Lofty music creating an unsettling atmosphere before transitioning into Castle Frankenstein, which visualizes what we've already heard. Then the jokes just sit on top of this atmosphere and love for the genre.
Yeah.
I think you can tell Brooks is taking this seriously with the talent that he had behind the camera. Real legends in their field, lovingly restoring a bygone era. This point will come up again and again, I'm sure, as we talk, and we'll get into the crew as we go. But for costume design, they recruited Dorothy Jenkins, a legend.
Yeah, she was the first ever recipient of an Oscar for costume design for her work on Joan of Arc in 1948.
Wow.
She also worked on prestige pictures like The Ten Commandments, The Music Man, The Sound of Music, and True Grit.
Incredible.
Yeah, great stuff.
Described by Brooks as one of the best costume designers that ever worked in Hollywood, he gave a complete freedom with two stipulations. Firstly, the costumes had to look like they could have been pulled out of Universal's wardrobe department in 1931. And secondly, and this is classic Brooks, designed the female lead's costumes to show as much cleavage as they were allowed.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Classic Brooks.
And make sure Wilder's collar pops open at some point whenever it needs.
That's amazing. That bit.
Yeah, it's so funny.
The cleavage thing, I mean, it wasn't just pure titillation. It's a nod to how pre-code Hollywood dressed its women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even by honouring the genre and treating it with reverence, he's still able to crowbar a few gags in there.
Yeah.
So behind the camera, serious dramatic talent, and in front of the camera, serious comedic talent. A
Yes.
wonderful balancing act, which I think Brooks gets just right.
Yes, spot on.
From a directing point of view, I could do without those crash zooms and Igor breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
But those are classic Mel Brooks, so you know what you expect, really.
Yeah.
But what he does here is bring restraint, reverence, and maturity, and in doing so creates, I think we all agree, his best work by a distance.
Oh, yeah,
Easily.
definitely. Few filmmakers had a better 1974 than Mel Brooks. He kicked the year off with the release of Blazing Saddles in February, and he closed it out with Young Frankenstein in December. And the idea for Young Frankenstein started on the set of Blazing Saddles. More of that on the writing section, though.
Yes, of course, yes. We'll get right into that.
Definitely.
What's different about this film compared to other Mel Brooks films is that the great man doesn't appear on screen himself. He co-wrote the film with Gene Wilder, and Wilder insisted that Brooks not play a part in the film because he had a tendency to break the fourth wall, even when he didn't mean to, just by virtue of being Mel Brooks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wilder wanted Young Frankenstein to be played straight with no winks to the audience, so the deal was if Brooks stayed off camera, Wilder would do it. Brooks couldn't keep himself out entirely, though, as you mentioned earlier. He does play the werewolf. Werewolf. He plays the werewolf at the start. He pops up as a villager near the end. And he is the voice or the noise of the screaming cat during the dark scene.
That's right, yeah. Amazing.
Nice.
I'm a little tired.
Nice grouping.
And he wanted to pay homage to the great Universal Frankenstein movies of the 30s, specifically 1931's Frankenstein and 1935's Bride of Frankenstein, both of which were directed by James Whale.
Classics.
But he also took inspiration from the sequels Son of Frankenstein from 1939 and Ghost of Frankenstein, which was 1942.
Yeah.
Yes. He had so much reverence for those films that he also provides the voice of Victor Frankenstein. We mentioned it earlier, mimicking the dialogue from the 1931 Frankenstein film.
Right,
Yeah.
nice.
He plays that completely straight as a die.
He does, yeah.
So Brooks' history of the source material goes all the way back. As I mentioned, he was 5 years old in 1931 when he first saw Boris Karloff in Frankenstein, and he was absolutely petrified. Well, you know, 5 years old, bro.
5 years old.
Yeah,
come on.
that's going to happen. So much so that he asked his mother if they could shut the window by the fire escape in their Brooklyn apartment. He was convinced the monster was going to come through the window and eat him.
Of course.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Classic.
He told this story about something that his mother said. Incredible parenting. She thought about it for a moment and then walked him through the whole journey step by step. She said, the monster lives in Romania. Romania isn't near the ocean, so he's got a long way to get to a boat. He'll need money for passage. He might not have any on account of being a monster, possibly not having any pockets. Even if he managed to get on a boat, it might dock in Miami, not in New York. And even if it docked in New York, he wouldn't know the subway system. And if he made it to Brooklyn, he wouldn't know which street they lived on. And even if he found the street, the people on the first floor had their windows open. So if he was hungry, he'd eat them first.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
So you're safe.
I wonder where he's got his storytelling abilities from. The original plan was for Young Frankenstein to be a Columbia picture. Brooks had a deal in place for $1.9 million. Contracts were signed and hands were shaken. Done deal.
The wheels came off, though, as Brooks was on his way out. He leaned back into the office and then just casually dropped in that he was planning to film it in black and white to honour the tradition of the Universal movies.
Right.
And according to Brooks, what followed was a herd of Jews chasing him down the hall, telling him that there was no way.
There was a brief attempt at a compromise. Columbia said they'd shoot on colour stock and screen it in black and white in important markets like New York, Chicago, LA, then run it in colour in other places. For example, like Peru, who had just got colour TV in movies.
Right.
Brooks's instinct was that this was a bit of a stitch-up waiting to happen. He didn't trust them not to flip everything to colour as soon as the camera stopped rolling. Yeah. So he said no. Columbia said the deal was off and they were left floundering.
Fortunately, he had a willing partner waiting in the wings. Alan Ladd Jr. had just taken over at 20th Century Fox. Brooks's producer, Michael Gruskoff, knew him from their days as agents together in London, so the script went over to Fox the same night. Ladd rang back and said it absolutely should be made in black and white. Amazing. They said the budget should be bigger, maybe 2.2 million to 2.4 million, so they were back on track.
Incredible.
Yeah,
yes, great. That's the kind of turnaround you want.
Exactly. Just someone completely agreeing and then giving you more money. Never fucking happens to me.
Never happens.
And that decision turned out to be the start of a very long relationship. As part of the deal, Brooks signed a 5-year contract with Fox, and the studio went on to release a string of his films: Silent Movie, High Anxiety, History of the World Part 1, and Robin Hood Men in Tights all came out of that arrangement.
Wow.
Wonderful. It worked out for Ladd as well. Young Frankenstein took 86 mil at the box office, and it played a big part in him being promoted to president of Fox.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
In 1976. From there, Ladd ended up greenlighting over 300 films, including Star Wars, Alien, and Blade Runner.
Wow.
Good business.
Yeah,
incredible.
too right.
And now it's time to introduce our first question from an ATRM patron. That's one of the benefits. If you become a patron of All the Right Movies, you can ask us questions for the films we're talking about. And the first one comes from Isabel Shaw. Hi, Isabel.
Hi, Isabel.
Hello, Isabel.
Isabel, clearly a big fan of Young Frankenstein. She asks, every year my husband and I sit down to watch Life of Brian on Christmas night and Young Frankenstein on Hogmanay. Now, Hogmanay is New Year's Eve in Scotland for people outside of the UK.
It is.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
Isabel said, do any of you have any film watching traditions? What films and when and why? Thanks for all your work. If you read this out, please say hi to my husband, Andy. Well, hello, Andy.
Hi,
Andy
Andy.
as well.
Big shout
cool.
out.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question, Isabel, as well. Westy, over to you first. Sulu in The Shining every Sunday, but on top of that...
Oh, it's Sunday Funday, man, every day. No, I mean, Christmas is a classic, isn't it? It's always the same. It's It's a Wonderful Life and Scrooged. And then I try to fit in Lord of the Rings around Christmas because that's when it came out and it always seems quite Christmassy to me. So over the Christmas period, I'll put that on. If it's snowing, I have to watch The Shining.
Right, nice.
If it's snowing outside, it has to be done, and I just put a jumper on and stare out the fucking window, just shining on one side. I'm doing that every single time. Coming back from the pub was a classic tradition. Doesn't happen as much now, but when I was younger, like mid-20s, it would always be like Predator, Highlander, Point Break, Commando, Die Hard. Any of them would just be on. Summer's Day. I've got this thing where if it's a really sunny day and if I've got a couple of hours, like if I'm getting ready to go out somewhere or whatever else, it's such a weird thing. But I watch BMX Bandits.
You love that one.
And I don't know, it just reminds us of being a kid and it being sunny outside. And it just like I wasn't allowed to play out at a certain time. I have to finish your dinner or whatever else. And I watch BMX Bandits and I'll go out and play after that. And it just really reminds us of that. It gives us that feeling. And then recently I've got this tradition where if I ever get any new gear, so I'm a photographer by trade, so if I buy anything new, the first time I got like my own camera and bought it for myself when I started my own business, which was like 15, 20 years ago, I watched Seven when I opened my first camera. Seven was on.
Right.
And I just have that in my head of like looking through all the menus and Seven was on in the background. And then every time I get a new bit of kit, no matter what it is, I have to put Seven on before I open it.
Right, wow.
Wow.
Very, very
bit
strange
of
thing.
superstition.
I think so, yeah, kind of. It's just very, very comforting to have that on. It's normally like the library moment when like he's going to the library. It's a how's this for culture? And then it's around that bit. Yeah, and then any Sunday, anything.
Everything
Zulu.
on the Sunday.
Zulu,
The
Disney
Deer Hunter.
Goggles. Deer Hunter, yeah. I'll put the Deer Hunter on the laptop and then watch Zulu on the main telly, but turn the sound down on Zulu and then turn the Deer Hunter in black and white on the laptop
Ludicrous.
and watch two at once. I know you still don't believe I do that, but I definitely do.
You definitely do.
Yeah, I came round to get something from you a few months ago, and it was just casually the Deer Hunter on in the background.
The Deer Hunter.
Matt, over to you.
I mean, yes, some similar. Again, obviously, Christmas is a big one, but outside of specific Christmas films, it's Lord of the Rings for me as well. That's definitely only really watched in December for me. Usually, probably 2-3 days before Christmas itself, I think. So that's when it came out at the cinema. So it reminds me of that.
Okay.
Also, that period between Christmas and New Year, I have to watch Where Eagles Dare at some point.
Wow, yeah, great.
That week, off work, Where Eagles Dare is going on at some point.
Brilliant.
Then I think during the summer, I've just always associated the original Indy trilogy with summer holidays.
Nice.
So I'll watch those across the summer months. And I mean, obviously Jaws because of July the 4th. And the other one I always watch every summer has to be The Burbs because that just reminds me of the 6-week summer holiday as a kid.
Yeah. Light nights.
Light nights.
Rent the Burbs, Light Nights. The Burbs was on constantly.
Yeah.
I put that on, I can like smell the barbecue and the freshly cut grass.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Superb.
And then the other one, once it starts to go kind of dark evenings again, and not Halloween as such, but maybe more in November, Shutter Island.
Oh, nice.
Has to be that time of year. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, I think we've clearly all got these little traditions. And I'm going to start in chronological order from the top of the year onwards.
Wonderful, obviously.
Here it comes.
Yeah. Don't miss any out.
Good Friday. I'm skipping ahead a few months. Good Friday. Okay. Good Friday morning, it's Ben-Hur, or at least some of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's a stretch.
Yeah, Cherry Race, and that's it.
Yeah.
On the afternoon, always long Good Friday, without fail, start to finish.
Always, yeah.
Easter morning is unusually reserved for Easter Parade.
Oh, okay, right.
Which is a great film.
Right, okay.
And then every Friday the 13th, obviously it's one of the Friday the 13th.
Obviously, yeah.
The Burbs is a summer film for me, Matt. Halloween gets fired up on Halloween naturally.
Yeah.
Now, Christmas is where it all goes crazy. And it's really prescriptive. Christmas Vacation on Christmas tree day when we're putting the Christmas tree up.
Yes.
Black Christmas on the night time.
Yeah, Black Christmas, obviously.
Yeah. The Snowman on Christmas Eve morning, Meet Me in St. Louis, Die Hard plays in the afternoon, then Scrooge on the night time. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah,
and that's like every year.
Yeah.
It has to be those, otherwise something's wrong.
Right, nice. Yeah.
And that's a great question, Isabel. Thank you very much.
Yes,
thanks,
wonderful.
Isabel.
Thank you.
Very
That
nice.
was a great question, yeah.
And that wraps us up on Mel Brooks' director on Young Frankenstein, a film which he said is the best he's ever made, although he also said it's only his third funniest behind Blazing Saddles and The Producers.
Disagree. Yeah. I disagree with the second comment, but I totally agree with the first.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Certainly his most accomplished.
Oh, 100%.
By far.
The cast.
A who's who of 70s comedic talent in Young Frankenstein. We're talking about the good doctor, his trusty sidekick, and his creation. Starting with an outstanding turn from Gene Wilder, who'd established himself as a solid screen force from the likes of Bonnie and Clyde, The Producers, and of course, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
Matt, it's over to you.
I mean, I think in general, he's really underappreciated as an actor. And I think it might be that curse where if you're seen primarily as a comic actor, people don't appreciate the range and the quality of the work you do. But for some to go from the likes of, as you said, Willy Wonka, which is such a definitive performance of that character, to then the films he makes in the 80s with Richard Pryor, and then all these collaborations with Brooks, he was incredible.
Yeah.
And I think he gets talked about more with nostalgic affection, which is 100% correct, but I think he should be talked about as a real chameleon of an actor as well, because he never did the same thing twice. There wasn't a Gene Wilder persona that he used in his films to come back to again and again. It was always a complete understanding of the character and what it needed to be, and that's why you get here. And it's such a clever understanding of the type of performance this needs to be, because the mannerisms, the pomposity, the deliberately slightly hammy approach to the dialogue, it's exactly the type of performance you do get in the 1940s in this genre, because that was the style back then. It was very theatrical. It wasn't very naturalistic, and that's what he nails. We know he can do comedy because that's in his blood, but this is the level above that. Like, as a contemporary actor, to adjust your performance so it feels like it really could have come straight out of the 40s, I just think that's true brilliance, and that's what Wilder is here.
Yeah.
I think it's nothing short of sensational. I think really is. I mean, I don't think this is hyperbole. It's one of the great comic performances of the silver
really
screen
is.
that
Yeah.
ever has been.
Yeah, definitely.
He has it all. Such a deft touch of delivery and screen presence. But it's the little details that I love.
Yeah.
When Elizabeth arrives and he introduces her, this is Elizabeth, my financier, my fiancée. Talking about. Or his reaction when he's trying to get in the sack with Elizabeth when she shows him, when she just shows up and she just completely blocks him and he mumbles his way out of that room to the big ones, bye. I don't think it really gets noted that near the end that Frederick has just had sex with Inga by raising the platform. And when Elizabeth arrives, 5 minutes later, he's trying to get straight in there with her as well. A very virile man.
Yeah, brilliant. So Brooks gave Wilder pointers throughout the shoot because he knew Wilder eventually wanted to direct his own films one day. Woman in Red, obviously a classic.
Yeah.
Brooks would do something on set, then turn Wilder and say something like, "See what I had to do there because I didn't shoot the close-up earlier. Don't do that." And Wilder would look at him and ask, "Who are you talking to?" And Brooks would say, "You, when you're directing."
It sounds like Frederick Frankenstein.
It does.
So he's talking.
Well,
I'm talking to you.
Talking to you.
Yeah.
Wilder would make his directorial debut a year later with The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes's smarter brother.
Yeah.
Didn't really rip up trees, that one.
Not really, no.
No.
Not so much.
But he did go on to have a decent directorial career.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And Wilder wanted to wear a mustache as Frederick, but Brooks hated the idea. So they shot the same scene 2 ways, one with it, one without. Brooks watched both back and admitted Wilder was right. The tash stayed in, and Brooks said, "Gene has never looked more handsome than when he was playing young Dr. Frankenstein."
I agree.
Yeah, great
totally.
tash.
Yeah.
By the last day of shoot, Wilder was still pitching Brooks new scenes, whole sequences that he wanted to add. Brooks had to sit him down and say, "Gene, it's over. It's got a beginning, a middle, and end. It's beautiful."
Yeah.
And Wilder buried his face in his hands and said, "Mel, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. This is the happiest time of my life."
Oh, wonderful.
Amazing.
That's great. I mean, no wonder he said that Young Frankenstein was the best film he'd ever made as well, even considering Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, outstanding doesn't cut it for Gene Wilder here, a comic masterclass as Frederick Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Next up, a British comic who built his reputation from his own TV shows of the 60s and 70s. An iconic turn from Marty Feldman as Igor. And Feldman is an unusual man.
It's very much so.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And quite the conundrum because he hadn't been in too many more movies of note after this.
No.
And he hadn't been in many, he'd only been in a couple before.
Died quite young, though, didn't he?
He did die quite young, you're right, yes.
Yeah.
But it is a shame that we didn't see more of him because he's wonderfully bananas here.
Oh, he's
Very
crackers,
much in
yeah.
keeping with the surrealist comedy of Monty Python. I think he's from that mould.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
He's always at hand with a scathing quip or a knowing wink to the audience. Again, something I kind of could do without, but that wouldn't be a Mel Brooks film if it didn't have
Well,
it.
exactly, yeah.
But what I find most interesting about Feldman is his physicality. He looks like you could pick him up with one hand. He's slithering around the place. He doesn't look quite human in the nicest possible way.
Yeah.
Well,
I know what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his outfit doesn't really help. You don't see
Yeah.
much
Doesn't.
of him.
It's
and
just like a
that-
shadow, isn't he? Yeah.
It's just a
He is
shadow
like
of
a
himself.
shadow.
Yeah.
And that really fits the character of Igor. It fits the setting, the narrative, his place in the world. When he sat down next to the monster when they're talking about the abnormal brain, it looks as though he doesn't have any arms. He's that thin.
Yeah.
And there's an absolute peach of a scene when Elizabeth first arrives at the castle. All four actors in the scene are on top form when Frederick introducing Elizabeth as his financier. It's ludicrous. Elizabeth's absolute disgust at Igor. Darling, surprised, love me. But it's absolutely incredible. The bit where Frederick tells Igor to get the bags. And he replies, "Okay, you take the blonde and I'll take the one with the toilet."
Yeah.
The minute Feldman delivered that line, the whole cast went, take after take, just uproarious laughter. Unsurprising when he's biting away at the mink around Elizabeth's
really
neck. Hilarious when she whacks him over the head with her purse as well.
Yeah, really good.
Feldman's line of comedy might not be to everybody's tastes, but I think he really puts his own stamp on this character. The film would have been less of an identity without him in the cast.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, if that was Brooks playing this, it just wouldn't work.
Not at all, no.
And he's got a part to play in the majority of the funniest moments in the film.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
He really, really makes a difference here.
So there was only ever one choice for Igor, and Wilder had written the part with Marty Feldman in mind. And as soon as Feldman was offered it, he just took it straight away, obviously.
Of course he
Brilliant.
did, yeah. It would have been
Great
the best
opportunity.
material he's been given.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. He's probably looked at it thinking, I can add loads to this.
Yes, yeah. And he does.
And he really does.
And one thing that often gets asked about Feldman in this film is how he achieved that bug-eyed look. And the truth is that as a child, he had Graves' disease, but the surgery he had to correct it went wrong and sadly left his eyes permanently like that.
Wow.
Brooks called Feldman the most delicious and the most frustrating actor that he'd ever worked with. He said his timing was completely separate from the rhythm of everybody else on set.
So funny.
Brooks's instruction to the camera operator was very simple when Marty's talking. Don't take it upon yourself just to cut. Keep the camera rolling.
And the scene where this paid off best is the dinner scene where Inga says, "You've hardly touched your food." And Feldman then delivers this line about never forgetting what his father said to him at times like this. And then just goes silent for a long time, just leaves it hanging in the air. And Brooks said it actually felt like an hour.
Yeah, because there's a cut, isn't there?
There's a cut in the edit, yeah. I would have loved a little bit more time on that.
Yeah, a little bit more time.
A little bit
Just a
more
little
would
bit.
have been great. But then eventually Wilder cracks and asks, "Oh, what did he say?" And Feldman's reply, "What the hell are you doing in the bathroom day and night? Why don't you get out of there? Give someone else a chance."
Yeah.
And then just goes silent again.
That whole potato
Yeah,
fucking
it's
decks me.
massive.
That makes it, because what he says is funny, but it's just that
As he's
whole thing,
thinking about what
as
he's
thinking
said.
about what he said, it's
It's
like,
got nothing to do with anything.
yeah, it harks back to like his dad telling him to finish his dinner, and just like the child that he's been like, he's not allowed to cut his food up unless his mom does it for him. It's like all of these things going through my head of like just the whole potato in his mouth. Still
Yeah.
hilarious.
That's great.
Brooks said afterwards he asked the camera operator why he hadn't cut, and the operator said he was on the verge and he didn't want to waste another 100 feet of film on silence, but thankfully he held on. Brooks called the moment a diamond. Definitely.
It really is.
Really
It
is.
really is.
Love that moment.
Feldman also brought one of the film's best running visual gags to the table himself. The script with him had a hump in it, but it was Feldman's idea that the hump would move position from scene to scene without anybody ever acknowledging it. And he just did it without anybody knowing, and only realised a few days later, and Mel Brooks said, "Well, that's genius."
Yeah.
I mean,
Brilliant.
it's just the spirit of the comedy that
It is. Yeah.
without getting the okay from Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just the goal of it. I mean, if you're on that set and they're bringing in originals props and they're bringing in 2.2 million budget and you're right in the middle of it and you're fucking around with your prop on your back just because you can.
Yeah.
That's why he's so funny.
It is, that takes a lot of balls. The line "what hump" as well, that was all his. Brooks said it was the funniest line in the film.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
So bringing improv and imperfections to the screen, Feldman as Igor is a great foil to Wilde as Frankenstein.
He is. He's
definitely.
wonderful.
Finally, the man playing the creation, the tallest one in his class, a mute, an incredibly big mute. At this point, Boyle had been in movies since the mid-60s, most notably in Joe, The Candidate, and The Friends of Eddie Coyle, and now he had the chance to flex his comedic muscles. Over to you, Westy.
He's just so good in this. What a role to play. He knows exactly what the blueprint is. He's seen these earlier films. He knows for a fact he's going to have to work incredibly hard to get any kind of impact on the screen, especially compared with everyone else he's acting against, or acting with, should I say. And you just really need somebody who's got that great physical presence and is prepared to play the foil, prepared to play the dumb person in the room to make everyone else look better.
Yeah.
He's basically setting up gags for people to knock down, and he does it every single scene that he's in. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's perfect for the role, because you need someone like Peter Boyle who has this incredible way of just landing dialogue where it has this depth and it has this real meaning. I mean, watch him as Wizard and Taxi Driver, and he has these monologues
great.
when he just slams home. He's got these stories, but they have such this reverence and this like depth to them. And I really think that's why you cast him, because without that speech at the end, where he has part of the brain, where he becomes eloquent, where he convinces everybody that, you know, this man's a genius and now I can be the man that I needed to be. And that's not funny. that
No.
really lands in a warm way. It's really
does,
heartwarming
you're
and
right.
really life affirming.
Mhm.
And it's his performance that does that. And it's his performance all the way through the film that sells that last moment. I mean, the physical comedy that he brings to it, the height that he's on these platform shoes, and it's just funny again. And he's genuinely scary in some
He is,
moments
yes,
because
he
you
is.
think he's genuinely just lost it. He's genuinely, threatening. Really good stature, and then delivers that eloquence at the end. I don't think anyone else could really have replaced him, to be honest. I think he's tragically overlooked of how good he is in this film.
I agree. I agree. Not just from a comedic point of view either.
Yeah, just excellent.
And
Just
his
an
comedy
excellent
can only come from his physicality.
Exactly.
It's incredible. Yeah, Brooks went to Boyle after a recommendation from Wilder's agent. Boyle had seen the original Frankenstein when he was about 12 years old, and he said that it had terrified him, obviously, as everybody else.
Definitely.
So when it came to playing the monster, he didn't feel the need to go back to watch the Karloff version. The performance was already there, lodged in his memory from being 12.
Yeah. So his approach, he played the monster as a baby, big and ugly and scary, but freshly born, still trying to make sense of the world, giving the performance a strange tenderness, which I think definitely works, like an innocence to it, really works as well.
Very much.
And the look of the monster came from makeup mastermind William Tuttle, who'd previously worked on The Wizard of Oz and Singing in the Rain. And the challenge was that the 1931 version had bolts in the neck, but Brooks didn't want to use those because he was wary of copyright complications with Universal. So Tuttle came up with what Brooks called a stroke of genius, a zipper instead.
Yeah.
You don't think that he's missing the bolts when you're watching this film?
Don't think for a minute.
I honestly put that in my mind when I think about it, but I think they're there.
Yeah.
The big technical decision Tuttle made was actually to borrow from Jack Pierce, the original 1931 Frankenstein makeup artist. He made Peter Boyle's monster face green because in black and white, green reads as dead on skin in the way that nothing else really does.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot flatter. There's a lot less contrast, which is why Dwight Kubrick made the table green in Dr. Strangelove.
Yes,
Brilliant.
that's right, yeah.
And Boyle wore 6-inch platform boots to increase his height to 6'8" That's a big lad.
And underneath all of that, Boyle wore about 125 pounds of padding, plus prosthetics, including a bulging forehead, the neck zipper, and hem stitching on the left temple. This resulted in 5 hours in the makeup chair every morning, and Brooks said Boyle stopped complaining the moment he saw what the result looked like in the dailies.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, they do look great.
Yeah.
I love how hollow his chest feels when Gene Hackman is banging on it.
Yeah,
or when Gene Wilder is doing the same.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened to Boyle on this film changed his life. While he was on set in full monster makeup, he was introduced to Rolling Stone reporter called Lorraine Alterman, who came in to interview Brooks. Boyle asked her out then and there, monster face and all. And she said yes.
Yeah.
They got married in 1977 and stayed married for the rest of his life. The wedding had a notable best man because Lorraine was best friends with Yoko Ono. John Lennon was Peter Boyle's best man.
Wow, amazing. Yeah.
Boyle later said of Lennon that the two of them were both seekers of the truth, looking for a quick way to enlightenment.
Yeah, I love that.
Aren't we all?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And that's the cast. Not forgetting the incredible talents of Terry Garr, Cloris Leachman and Madeleine Kahn and Kenneth Mars.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Combined with Wilder, Feldman and Boyle to make one of the greatest comedy ensembles in cinema.
Yeah.
All Right Movies will be right back. Thank you for supporting us by listening to the sponsors for this episode. Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and now it's back to the show.
The middle.
With the pull of his family business too powerful to resist, destiny, no escape, and that for me, as Frederick executes his grandfather's work. And I'm starting off here with the exhumation of a recent criminal. In the scene before, there's a great match cut of Igor's drawn of the monster swinging to the swinging of the body of the hanged man in this scene. Great.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's a scene which is remarkably similar to that which opens the 1931 Frankenstein movie. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Frederick and Igor making light work of digging the coffin up, but the setting is great. It's really authentic. None of this looks like it's set in LA.
No.
Not at all.
And Brooks had bought white handkerchiefs for the crew. And this was something he'd started doing on his second film, The 12 Chairs, where there was so much laughter on set he couldn't get a take. So for Young Frankenstein, he bought 200 of them and told anyone not in the scene to shove one in their mouth the moment they felt themselves about to crack.
So he said he was shooting this graveyard scene where Feldman delivers this line, "It could be raining." and then a load of rain immediately comes pouring down.
Yeah.
Fucking great. It could be worse. It could be raining. It's straight down. Absolutely love that. Yeah. So Brooks turned around at that moment and saw a sea of white handkerchiefs in the mouths of the entire crew. And he said to himself, I've got myself a hit here.
Yeah.
So confident, right after that, he rang up Alan Ladd Jr. at Fox and he said, don't play it safe. Spend some money on advertising and you'll make it back.
Yeah.
Confidence. I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
And following this scene, there's such an incredibly funny moment where Igor and Frederick drop the coffin and the body breaks loose. Before they can get it back together, the local constable comes sniffing around asking questions.
Yeah.
And this
It's so
is
good.
all about Gene Wilder as a comic force of nature,
Yeah.
working with a dead body's arm sticking out as a prop.
Yeah.
The policeman asks if he needs a hand. No thanks. Have one.
I have one. That's the least funny bit as well.
To make it all seem normal, Frederick stretches out his left hand, mimicking the dead hand.
Yeah.
Then he starts to casually pick at the nails on the fingers of the dead
Yeah,
hand.
really
That's
good,
just
yeah.
comic timing of the highest order.
It's
That.
unbelievable, yeah.
And then when he reaches out for the handshake, why, you're chilled to the bone. A nice warm fire would be a thing for you. Yes, yes. A little nip from the old button wouldn't be too bad either. Then he slaps both hands together. That's the ticket.
Fucking Dex me that every single time.
That's the ticket, yes.
That's the ticket, yes. Rubbing them.
Smashing his foot on the ground, trying to move. Oh, wow. I mean, that is just a comic masterclass. Physicality, delivery, prop work, reactions.
Yeah.
Comic genius.
Yeah,
Great.
2 or 3 shots as well in the whole scene.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. 2 or 3 angles.
No thanks. Have one.
I have one.
And then we go from this to the actual scene where he's going to try and bring this creature to life, and seeing all that equipment sparking and working, that's incredible. I mean, and that shot where he's winched up into the skies
That's
to harness
incredible.
the electricity. It's astonishing how well that plays. It's like an actual horror moment from Frankenstein. I mean,
Yeah.
Wilder's speech here, we shall command the thunders and penetrate into the very womb of impervious nature herself. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely, that works. Like, it's
Yeah,
a
it
proper
does.
dramatic
You
moment.
totally forget a laugh in this whole sequence.
Oh, yeah, totally. He plays it so straight. It's so effective. But then it's so effective because it contrasts to how hilarious the other bits are. I mean, Igor getting down from the roof in a split second. Like, I understand. Why are you shouting? And you just, didn't you? And then he just leaves it because he can't talk with
never mind.
Igor.
Yeah.
You can't
Did
make
you
sense.
tie the
It's never
kites
mind.
off? Of course I did.
Yeah.
All right.
And then his conversation with Ink, as we're saying, it's all double entendres. Elevate me. Now, right here. Yes, raise the platform. Oh, the platform. Oh, that, yeah, yes. It's comedy 101, but it's so funny. Terry Gore's amazing in this scene.
She's incredible.
And then he does get elevated, obviously. And like I say, it's amazing how long this scene actually plays out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It properly goes for the resurrection. I mean, even the dialogue, like, throw the third switch. Not the third
Not
switch.
the third switch.
That's really funny. But it's the effects, it's the music, it's the sound effects as well, the production design.
Yeah.
It all just comes together so well in this scene.
Oh,
But
it
then
totally
obviously
works.
it doesn't work. And they come back down and Frederick's all, we will accept this with quiet dignity and grace. Gives it 2 seconds and then starts laying into the creature like a toddler having a tantrum. I don't want to live. I do not want to live. And then classic Brooks, Igor breaking the fourth wall. Quiet dignity and grace.
Yeah.
And also during the scene, Brooks decided to use genuine 500,000 volt electrical discharges, basically real lightning.
Wow.
It was too dangerous for Peter Boyle to lie still under that, so Makeup Man Tuttle made a fiberglass cast of his face and shoulders to use as a dummy. Inside the fiberglass, Tuttle hid what he called secret ingredients. Fair enough. Things that resembled brains, skull, and teeth, with self-contained lights inside them that could be pulsed up and down with a dimmer. Fantastic.
Incredible.
Yeah.
When the special effects team threw the switches, the Ark started jumping just 2 feet from Wilder and grew in size and power until 500,000 volts were genuinely crackling through the air around him.
Wow.
It's just insane.
Amazing.
Wilder was safe, but only because his distance from the electrode was always greater than that of the dummy's distance from it, meaning the electricity would automatically jump to the closest object every time.
Wow. I mean, I wouldn't
Very
be confident
dangerous.
in that happening, to be honest
No,
with you.
not at all. And as this is the most dramatic sequence in the film, it feels right to ask our second ATRM patron question. This one is from Caleb Bailey. Hello, Caleb.
Hi, Caleb.
Hi, Caleb.
Caleb says, "Hi, guys. I love the show. Thank you very much."
Oh, that's kind.
He says, "We all know this is a farce. Funny on purpose. So my question is, are there any quote-unquote serious horror movies that just make you guys laugh every time you watch?" He said, "I watched Hellraiser with my daughter when she was very young. Best parent ever, right?" Well, yes. We've all been there.
Yeah.
And he said, "All she did was laugh at the little guy with the chattering teeth. Thanks.
Fair enough.
Keep up the good work, gentlemen. P.S. Any plans on doing Hellraiser?"
No, not right now.
No,
Not right now.
no, not on the radar.
No, not really. No.
Yes, dearie me, Caleb. Now that is a bold parental move.
It is. Hellraiser especially, yeah.
Yeah, I rewatched it in the last year or so, and it isn't pretty.
No,
It's not. It's grim.
It's not at all. No.
Please don't show her the sequel. Some very peculiar imagery in that.
Yeah.
Very much so, yeah.
A great question, though. And I think there are many films that if you didn't live through them as a child, they might be a bit laughable.
Yeah.
I've heard certain people say that Nightmare on Elm Street's funny.
Yes.
They are obviously insane.
Yeah.
The films that leapt to mind for me, firstly, Friday the 13th Part 3, the 3D one.
Right. Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
I think it's in the run of the worst Friday sequel. I think
Really?
it's pretty much guaranteed, yeah.
Right. I don't know. I've got a different one.
Oh, really? Which one?
Yeah.
Jason X?
It takes Manhattan.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. Of course.
Tate.
Yeah. He doesn't take Manhattan. He just arrives
He
in
just
Manhattan.
arrives and
Has a little
minces
walk
around
around.
Manhattan.
And then
Yeah.
drowns in the sewer.
But for Part 3, any opportunity to lunge at the camera with any old object is taken full advantage of for the 3D effect. It looks horrible. But the characters are so infuriatingly annoying. The acting's laughable, and the protagonist biker gang are insanely non-threatening. One of them ends up having a wonderful time at a rope swing, for example.
Yeah.
A wonderful time.
She does. Loves it. And I'm also going to say The Howling, another film that we talked about,
Fair
a double
enough.
feature.
Yeah.
There are some moments of genuine terror in that film, the opening being one of them.
Yeah.
But it's the monster transformation, the big centerpiece,
Yeah.
which was undercut some months later when American Werewolf came out. And now it all just looks a little bit too silly.
It does a bit.
The animated bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
The animated bit is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Some of the firing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And finally, John Carpenter's Christine.
Yeah.
I have a lot of affection for the film, but the central premise, a killer car, it's crap.
It's great on the page, but visualizing that, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, no, it's not great.
No.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, interesting that you mentioned Christine, because I think Stephen King's sole attempt at being a director with Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive.
Oh boy, that didn't age well. Like
Yeah.
that.
Cocaine.
Yeah, it's a hell of a drug. That was definitely his period. You know, don't want to open the old can of worms again, but a lot of Poltergeist is quite silly.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah,
Got that.
yeah, fair enough.
And then in the sense of, I don't know if it is supposed to be funny, and it's a brilliant film and one we've covered, but I will just always think of that moment in Texas Chainsaw when Franklin's kicking off downstairs because they've all left him in his wheelchair. And he does that, but it's when he
raspberries,
goes to wheel out and he's in the mood.
It's
He
his
jams his
fault.
hand against the door and he just starts sobbing quietly. I always laugh and I feel horrible. It's just too funny.
That is funny.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's what you get for being a dick, mate.
Yeah.
Karma Corton film.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What about you, Wesley?
I mean, yeah, there's a few crossovers, but I do always find the end of Nightmare on Elm Street when she goes through that window, I can't help but chuckle a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's pretty funny. And
Yeah.
it's nice because it's been such an intense move on that. That's just when you watch it with other people, like you said at the top, look, if you haven't lived with these films, then
Yeah.
it can't be laughable. I mean,
Yeah.
Poltergeist I've got, Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th, 8, which is always going to be funny, isn't it? But
Yeah.
to me, I mean, the one that I think is unintentionally funny and everyone finds it funny, and I think it's more of a comedy now, is the Wicker Man remake with Nick Cage.
All right.
Yeah.
When he's like, not the bees. Not the bees.
I have not seen it because it got such bad reviews.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so unintentionally funny. I think a lot of people don't like being scared and look for the humor, which overpowers
I
fear.
agree.
And if they go, oh, that's really funny, that there is a little bit of them that might just be just trying to avoid being scared,
Trying to mask the scare, yeah.
trying to find humor in it. So I think there is a lot of that. So going off that theory, Killer, I think your daughter might have actually been petrified of Hellraiser and just laughing at that guy with the chattering teeth just to try and mask some kind of pain that was happening there. So there might have been fear. You never know, but I mean, that is fair enough. But there is that to take into account as well. There is a very, very fine line between terrified and hilarious.
Mm-hmm. A great question, Caleb. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, mate.
Thank you.
And now that Frederick's experiment is over, it's over to Westy on the introduction of another weird and wonderful character.
Another weird, wonderful, another beautiful introduction of a character as well. I mean, this is just an absolute masterclass from Kenneth Mars, who plays Inspector Kemp. There's only one man who we can count on for this moment, and just an eye patch with a monocle over the top. That's enough. But a hand, an arm that just needs punching into space, and he uses it so well. It's just that when he just lighting that cigar just by punching his arm into different into different situations, and it just molds it.
Such a rigmarole, isn't it?
It's a rigmarole, but it's fucking unreal. It's like that's worth the scene just for that bit. But that's just
the choreography of it's incredible.
It's just so well done. Just the way he turns it round to dip his finger in the cup. The fire out. It's just so Doctor Strangelove.
Yes, it is.
It just reminds me. It's very Sellers in that performance.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just the dialogue, the way that's played into that. I mean, I remember watching Allo Allo, and I think the French policeman off Allo Allo takes a lot from this guy.
That's great.
Like, his pronunciation of things, and it's just a little. I mean, I've seen this film about, I don't know, over double figures, I'd say it, right? Easily. And I still haven't got a fucking clue what he says.
I don't know what he's saying.
No. And then the opening spiel that he's got, he says he's walking down. And I think that's totally intentional, and that's fine. Yes. But the bits that we do pay attention to are really, really fun. Footsteps. That's absolutely fine. It's brilliant. Doesn't take you out the film, even though he's completely bizarre.
Completely.
Totally off the wall, but it really, really works for some reason. I still haven't got a clue how they pulled this off. It's just an incredible character, balls to the wall, and they know exactly what they're doing. And that payoff, I'll pay him a little visit and to have a nice, quiet shit. And that iris in. It's that iris in that absolutely slams it for me, because it's just perfect in, right, here we go. This introduction's fantastic.
It's amazing. Pay a visit to the good doctor. Have a nice, quiet chit.
You should have done this scene.
Oh, it's great.
And Kenneth Mars had already worked with Brooks on The Producers in 1968. So when Young Frankenstein came around, Brooks offered him Inspector Kemp without much of an audition process, but there was one thing he wanted to clear with him first.
Yeah, Brooks called Mars and asked very seriously, if you're wearing an eye patch and you've got a monocle on top of the eye patch, brilliant. Is that too much? Mars said, of course not. Brooks said, good, you're hired. The monocle was actually magnetized, holding it in place over the eye patch as well. Oh, wow. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, great.
Is that too much? Of course not.
Of course not. Boom, straight in. Can you be German tomorrow? Yes.
Initially, Brooks had Dustin Hoffman in place to play the part of Franz in The Producers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But he dropped out to star opposite Brooks's wife, Anne Bancroft, in The Graduate. Made Dustin Hoffman a star, made him who he is.
Yeah, sure. Great choice.
Kenneth Mars filled Hoffman's shoes for the part of Liebkind in The Producers.
Yeah.
And Brooks later said that if he got his first choice of Hoffman in The Producers, Hoffman would almost certainly have played Kemp in Young Frankenstein.
Right?
What? Can you imagine?
It would have been good.
That is really changing Hollywood history. That is
absolutely. I can see it, but it's like, I love Mars in this. He's so funny.
God, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Definitely not.
And in this scene, the 5 previous Universal Frankenstein films are referenced when the elders say they still have nightmares from 5 times before. So this is reference to Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, The Ghost of Frankenstein, and Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Brilliant. Right. Yeah, it knows its history.
It does, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
So Frankenstein's activities haven't gone unnoticed. And Inspector Kemp will be paying a visit to the good doctor here.
Very nice.
As far as Frederick is concerned, his creation has failed and he's pretty upset about it. But he soon finds out that it's alive. We're talking about that moment before a visit from Kemp, and then the monster is set free. And I'm starting off here. And this is, I mean, this is Wilder on absolute top form.
Yes.
It starts off with two beautiful moments at the dinner table where he's all forlorn about the experiment not working, and his reaction when Inca says, "You haven't even touched your food." Like a petulant child, he jams his hands in the food. There, now I've touched it. Happy? My God.
So good.
My God, that's so funny. And then when they're taken into dessert and Frederick explains what the dessert is to Igor, and there's a murmur from the monster, which Frederick mistakes as a sound coming from Igor. Oh, do you like it? Who are you talking to? To you. You made a yummy sound, so I thought you liked this.
That didn't make a yummy sound.
That delivery is irresistible, and it's uniquely Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
And he's another uniquely Wilder moment. His reaction to seeing the monster, and he said, "Oh, it's alive!" And then stand back, and he softly approaches the body. Hello there. But he tries to whisper through the corner of his mouth, "It's a sedative ready." And the reaction of Peter Boyle's magnificent, just his eyes alone darting from one side to the other, is hilarious. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And this is just gag after gag, all different types, physical performances, funny lines, 4 comedic grades bouncing off each other as the monster strangles Frederick as he does his charades act.
Yeah.
Feldman jumping up and down when he thinks that said a dirty word is what Frederick is trying to act out. I mean, what the fuck?
He said a dirty word.
Jumping up and down. Then the whole sedative thing. But before Inga gets it right, sedative on the nosy.
The nosy.
It's absolutely crazy.
On the nosy, yeah.
Sedative. That's insane.
And Brooks said the charades moment was one of the hardest scenes to shoot because nobody could keep a straight face. And he gave Boyle the instruction, "You've really got to strangle him." But despite Brooks's insistence for Boyle to hurt Wilder, Wilder just kept laughing and they kept blowing takes.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolute chaos.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing about this whole sequence, oh God, I can't believe it exists, is when Frederick says, "I go down to have a little chat with him."
Yeah.
And his delicate demeanour, he totally suckers Igor in, provides a safe environment for him to be honest with him, and then he pounces. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Would you sit down for a moment? Igor sits on the floor. No, up here. Oh, thank you. Now, that brain you gave me, was it Hans Delbrooks? No. Good. Yeah. Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in? And you won't be angry. I will not be angry.
It's the not. I will not.
He doesn't even allow him to finish the sentence.
Fantastic.
Then the Abby normal guy. I'm almost certain that's what it said.
Yeah.
Abby normal.
Be normal.
And then it ends with him throttling Igor, and then Igor going to do the charade.
And it reminds you of that moment when Igor dropped the brakes. He was like frightened of himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's the only reason he's fucked all this up.
Yeah, that's great. That scene where Igor steals the brain, it's a lift from the 31 Frankenstein film.
It is,
and if you watch that scene back in the original, it's really difficult to take seriously now.
Yeah.
It is.
Really difficult.
Yeah. So the brain that Igor steals, the one in the jar labelled Hans Delbruck, scientist and saint, there was a real Hans Delbruck. He was a 19th century German military historian and a professor at the University of Berlin.
Again, just authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Scientist and saint.
Yeah.
Put that on my fucking
Who decided
gravestone.
that?
Wesley, scientist and saint.
Wonderful. And to finish off the scene, a thud at the door. Frederick must wash up. He's got to look normal. And his collar and tie pin pings open.
Oh, yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's so good.
How on earth did they get away with that? We have to look absolutely normal. Ping.
Yeah. We have got to behave normally. It's that cut as well, straight from that, because I'm going into when Kemp visits the castle, and you've got that moment where he's like, "We've got to behave normally." And then he's like, "Ha! Monsters!"
That transition's amazing.
It's so funny. It's just straight in there. But I just love where Kemp's just using his arm to slam it against the door.
Yeah.
It's like constantly using it. But I mean, this sequence is so brilliant. The back and forth between the two of them. I mean, how many gags can you get out of a dartboard and 5 darts? Or 8 darts, or however many there is. It's absolutely unprecedented how funny this is because it's so subtle. And, you know, he throws them and they all land where they need to land. And then Kemp goes up, pulls them all out, jams them in his arm to carry them back for no real reason. And then just finds out that he's got that, you know, Frederick's got his back turned. So then uses it to run back, stick them up, and then goes. And he buys it. That's the way he does the dance move.
He's grouping.
Nice grouping. As he turns around, spits his water out. Nice grouping. That's absolutely brilliant. And then he just keeps hitting them with all of these kind of accented ends of sentences that it's just a bit of gibberish, and then it's just bang, and then he misses.
Because you are a Frankenstein.
And it's just straight, and then he just every time he's just jarred and misses. And if you just watch this again and again and again, you'll find something new every single time. First one misses the dartboard, and then you've got the second one goes out the window, I think, and then the third one he's got the dart backwards.
Yeah.
When he throws it at the cat. So it's backwards anyway and then spins around. So it hits the cat, but you know that it's not going to stab the cat because he's thrown it backwards. So there's even that. If they're going to say, oh, you've harmed something and it seems malicious. And it isn't. There's even that playfulness to it. Then they're going out the window. Then one goes behind him and he loses it and goes to throw it forward. Just that last one, it goes behind him and then goes to throw it again. It's like, how many gags can you get out of a set of darts? And then that groan gag works again. That and that's straight, and we're not tired of that yet at all. That's just, you could put that through all day, but it's just the perfect setup. And they're going through the window, and you forget about it. And then Kemp leaves, and there's just that close up, and there's just that dart in the guy's helmet. And then it comes out, and you think, oh, that's the funny bit. It's just in his helmet. It comes out, and it's like, no, it's in the front tire, it's in the back tire, and it's in the fucking spare tire. So they can't even change any of the tires. And as if that's not enough for Brooks, he's like, I'm just going to do a push in on that tire.
Yeah.
As it leaves,
if you
like,
didn't get it,
not leaving it to the audience to get this whatsoever. As the car drives off, I am absolutely going to punch in on that fucking wheel, and you get the whole thing, and then you get a lovely fade to black. Brilliant between the two of them, an absolute comedy masterclass. I mean, the universe is smiling on this whole production, isn't it?
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
Everything's coming together.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
beautiful.
is.
It's a beautiful thing.
We're talking about all these brilliant actors who all get their moments to shine. I think the next scene is all about Cloris Leachman. She's amazing in this moment where they've confronted her about setting the monster free and how dangerous it is. And she goes, not this one. He's as gentle as a lamb. Cut to him jumping off the table and lunging after everyone.
Yeah.
But the wonderful thing about the scene is how she plays that violin, because
it's great.
It's been established, and it makes total logical sense that she's been playing it all along, because it calms the monster down. So you totally believe that she would have it in her position. And, you know, she does use it here to calm down, but it's then how she uses it in the rest of the scene to underscore every dramatic accusation that Frederick throws at her. And she's shrieking by the end, and each stab of that violin gets more and more OTT. It was you who played that music in the middle of the night. Yes. That was your cigar smouldering in the ashtray. Yes. And you and Victor were, yes, say it. He was my boyfriend. Just the way she builds up to that.
Yeah.
Shrieking it by the end. Yes. Yeah. She is so wonderfly OTT in this scene.
Yeah, brilliant.
If Victor was Frau Blucher's boyfriend, how fucking old does that make Frau Blucher?
Doesn't matter. Cloris Leachman went into this film without any instruction. Her hair, makeup, and costume were worked out on day one. Wow. She also never done a German accent before, and nobody thought to coach her through one. But fucking hell, you cannot tell. Like, it's
you can't, no,
not at all.
So she basically went around the set asking anybody, "Excuse me, do you know a German accent at all?" 3 or 4 people said that they did, but the most useful one in the end was Mel Brooks' own mother, who was on set at the time.
Right.
She got her closest to the accent that ended up on the film.
Wow,
and it's great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So the monster is set free, the first of 3 or 4 times that happens in the film.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
But it makes for a tense and hilarious final act.
Yes, it really does.
The crew.
As mentioned, a stellar crew on Young Frankenstein. The cinematography and music are coming up. Firstly, it's the written word by Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder on the screenplay. This was their 3rd movie collaboration, but the first time they had written together. Based, of course, on Mary Shelley's legendary Frankenstein novel from 1818.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts on the writing are what follows on from what I was saying about Brooks as a director, really. This is an outlier in his body of work because it's a lot more subtle than most films he's worked on.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking, how can exploding bow ties and charades when being strangled by a monster be subtle? But compared to the pour everything into the mix approach that he usually takes, there's an awful lot of restraint here.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And I think that comes from a combination of Brooks' scattergun, gag, a second style, and Wilder's more measured narrative approach. You two have said it already.
Yeah, yeah.
Wilder's pulling the reins, so to speak. It doesn't hurt that they've got one of the greatest novels ever written as a backbone as well, of course.
Yeah.
But unlike Blazing Saddles, which is hilarious, this has got a lot more room to breathe and tell a story and to marvel in the production design or linger on a music cue. Saddles throws in a gag every 5 seconds. If you didn't like that one, there'll be one coming soon that you'll love and you'll forget about the ones that you didn't.
Yeah.
But here, there's more spaced out and they're more methodical, meaning they have to be memorable for the whole thing to land as a comedy. Because there's not as many of them, even though there is still loads. They come thick and fast. But the big moments live longer in the memory for me because they are written better.
Yeah.
There are a few that I could do without, like the little boy at the Transylvanian train station offering a shine. That doesn't land for me.
No.
At all.
No.
Take it out.
Yeah.
There are others that don't land for me as well, but on the whole, Wilder and Brooks nail them. Really nailed them. The putting on the Ritz moment, the blind man scene, the monster awakens scene, the classroom scene at the start. They're big, funny moments with loads of little comic gems underneath.
Yeah.
Just shimmering away.
Yeah, yeah.
A case of less is more here for me, even though it's a gag a second.
Yeah.
Great comedy, great restraint in the writing.
Yes.
I think the thing for me is if you do contrast this to Blazing Saddles, Brooks co-wrote that with 4 other people, and you can tell there's 5 voices all competing in that film to get their voice heard, to get their jokes in, get their point across, and Brooks is shouting across all of them. But there's only 2 voices here, and the other voice is someone who actually came up with the idea first and then got Brooks involved. So it's very harmonious in that sense. Like the direction, there's a discipline, and it does feel like, you've exactly said it, Wilder can rein Brooks back in a way that no one else could on Blazing Saddles or anything else. This isn't Brooks with some other people. This is Wilder and Brooks 50-50. I mean, obviously there are silly moments, but it could get really silly. And when it doesn't, I think that's Wilder's influence pulling it back. I think there are moments where Wilder lets Brooks have a couple of gags here and there that he's maybe not keen on. And I think, to be honest, you can tell those because they're the scenes that Wilder isn't in. And that's just my take on it.
Yeah.
But I do think when you compare it to Blazing Saddles, I just feel that this is much more about these two finding a harmonious balance between what they both want this to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the word that springs to mind when I think about the writing on this is respect. I think they've got a massive amount of respect for each other, and a massive amount of respect for what they can each bring to the project. And like both of you have said, really, I think Wilder's position can't be understated. I think to be able to rein Mel Brooks in at this point in 74, that is a big weight to be able to do that, and to even convince him to not be in his film is a massive thing. Just to do that, you can see the influence that he's got, and then that comes to some gags being put forward and maybe not. But I think they've got a real respect, and I think they both totally understand what they want from the finished film, because it is a pleasure to watch, and it does flow really well, and it does have those moments where it knows exactly what the tone is, and it knows exactly when to ramp that up to comedy, and knows exactly when to ramp it up to heart, and knows exactly when to ramp it up to fear in some places, because some of these moments are genuinely heartfelt and genuinely scary if you just watch them for the 2 or 3 minutes that they're meant to be played out. There's some really, really great beats in there. There's some really good satire and really good nods back to classic Hollywood, especially the Universal era. I mean, the train station goodbye is possibly the ultimate parody of that period of anything. You know, the femme fatale, and you've got the hero going off and the train
Brief
station.
encounter, that kind of
It's
thing.
all
Casablanca.
there, Casablanca. And
Casablanca,
it's got all
great.
of them elements in it, that tip of the cap, but it's always like, you know, they're just so preoccupied with the look. They always looked perfect, but that was never put forward from the female characters. And it gives female characters a real platform, especially mid-70s, because no one was going to put female characters in there to be funny on their own accord. They're always bouncing off somebody else, so they're always there to just be pretty. I mean, they are there for that reason, but they do take the piss out of that as well. They bring that to the forefront and go, yeah, oh, my nails, or my hair, or you can't do this, you can't do it. And they riff on it, and they know what they're doing with it. And I just think there's a respect between these two as writers, but there's also a respect for every single person that they've cast in this film. It's a beautiful blueprint for them to build on, and they've built on it perfectly. It's not too high that it topples. It's just perfect to watch.
Yeah, loads of positives there in the writing.
Definitely.
So as mentioned before, the idea for the film started on the set of Blazing Saddles. Brooks said that one day during filming, he invited Gene Wilder into his trailer for some pineapple and cottage cheese, unusual combo.
Yeah.
Wilder was scribbling on a legal pad, which piqued Brooks's interest, and Wilder told him the concept for the film.
Yeah, Brooks was reluctant because there'd been so many Frankenstein movies, but Wilder said that what if the grandson of Dr. Frankenstein wanted nothing to do with the family whatsoever, ashamed of all the wackos that came before him, just trying to make it as a serious, respected scientist in his own right. And Brooks thought that was funny. He said, Gene, you can't write this alone. You need a genius like me to write it with you. And if I like it, maybe I'll direct.
Brilliant. It's really Brooks, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
He asked Wilder if he had any money on him. Wilder said he had $57. Brooks said, it's a start, and pocketed it as a down payment with the agreement that he'd direct if he liked what the two of them came up with. Amazing. $57.
So the two of them started working on the script in the evenings at Wilder's bungalow at the Hotel Bel Air after their day's work on Blazing Saddles had wrapped. Brooks said they wrote over Earl Grey tea and English digestive biscuits, doing rewrite after rewrite on each scene until they were happy with it.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
You can tell that they've written it to within an inch of its life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like Brooks, Wilder's connection to the material was personal. At first, he didn't really know why he was drawn to it, but later realised that from a young age he'd seen the 1931 film and was terrified of it, of course. He saw all 4 of the Universal Frankenstein movies between the ages of about 8 and 10, and they stayed with him. So when he came to write Young Frankenstein, what he really wanted, after all these years, was a happy ending. He wanted to take the thing that scared him and rewrite it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And Wilder and Brooks maintained a harmonious relationship, but they did blow up once. The two of them were working on the film at Wilder's apartment one day, got into a row, and Brooks had a full screaming fit before storming out.
10 minutes later, though, the phone rang at Wilder's place and it was Brooks on the other end. He asked Wilder, who was that madman you had in your house? And advised him that it was dangerous to have crazy people around. Wilder recognised this as a Mel Brooks apology and they were fine from then on in.
Right, nice.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So the best writing that Brooks and Wilder ever did, helped in no small part by Shelley's classic novel and James Wales's classic movies.
Definitely.
Next is the dramatic music for Young Frankenstein, composed by John Morris, a frequent collaborator with Brooks, whose relationship goes all the way back to TV and Broadway productions of the 50s and 60s, and all the way up to Brooks's Life Stinks in the early 90s. Matt, John Morris's music for the film, what do you think?
Superb stuff. Very harmonious. I mean, harmonious is the word I would describe the film because everything, music, cinematography, production design, no one doesn't understand what the job is here. No one is given free rein to do what they want and bring something really personal to the table.
Yes.
There are strict boundaries of what they can do here because of the nature of the film. But that's a challenge in and of itself because there's some elements of the film that aren't being spoofed, like the special effects aren't there to be laughed at. They're there to look exactly how they were and to still work as, you know, a piece of drama. And it's the same with the music. There's nothing contemporary, but create a score that would befit an actual film starring Boris Karloff or Bela Lugosi and make it fit. And that's exactly what you've got here. It's mimicry, but it also can't sound like mimicry, and it doesn't. It's an original imitation, and that's incredibly hard to do.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it, Westy?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same as Matt's, really. I think it's got a really romantic feel to the whole thing.
Much.
It feels like these are just outtakes from the older films that they didn't use. They've taken them and just went, oh, we found these as well as we found all
These
the
are
props,
great.
and we'll just rehash these. It's got that much of a tone, but it also has quite a quite a modern feel for the 70s, I think. It feels cleaner. It feels like it's been recorded with better equipment. It feels like the technology was there, and it's just got this real clean feel to it. But it just matches what you see on the screen so perfectly. Its use in the film, when it is used, is perfect, because it really accentuates and really backs up everything that you're seeing on the screen. There's some really beautiful bursts of music, and then nothing. The opening credits are fantastic. Closing credits are fantastic. I think there's just so many different ideas and different themes running through this whole film. It gives it that variety, same as you're seeing between the comedy and the tragedy. I think you've got that in the music as well. It really is a wonderful, wonderful piece of work from John Morris.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's a hat trick. I think it's like one of the great quiet weapons that the film has.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good way to describe it, yeah.
I think it would have been very easy to write a comedy score for a comedy film, wink at the audience, undercut every gag. Certainly that's what Mel Brooks has done in the future.
Yeah, that's a safer way to do it.
It is, but he doesn't do any of that. And I know that he would have been given that instruction by Mel Brooks as well, of course. But he treats Young Frankenstein exactly the way that Steiner or Waxman would have treated a 1935 Universal horror picture, for example.
Yeah.
Full orchestra, lush strings, brass, when the mood calls for it. No irony whatsoever. And that main theme, it's just a perfect example of it. The solo violin, plaintive, romantic, like you said, Westy.
Yeah.
The kind of melody that genuinely could have rolled out of the Universal lot 40 years earlier, like you said.
Yeah.
It sets the tone of the whole film before a single line of dialogue is spoken. It's going to be a love letter, played straight, mirroring all the crew work as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's bigger than just nostalgia. The score does the heavy lifting of the film's actual themes. It carries the loneliness of the monster, the grandeur of the family legacy, the romance with Inga, and the tenderness underneath all of it. Big and bold, quietly heartbreaking. I think it's the secret ingredient for me.
Yeah.
It's really, really great.
Definitely elevates the film.
The centerpiece of Morris's score in this film is that main theme, the Transylvanian lullaby. We all know the one. Mournful, melodic, stunningly beautiful, performed straight as a die. It's the heart of the entire film.
Yeah.
And Brooks gave Morris a conceptual brief, not a tune. He told him, this is a horror film, basically, and writing scary music would be totally inappropriate. The score isn't about the horror, it's about the monster.
So write me the most beautiful Eastern European lullaby you can. That's going to become the heart of the monster. That'll be his childhood. Morris understood instantly because, as he later put it, Brooks always goes for the emotional centre of something.
Nice. They've got a good working relationship.
Definitely. I mean, you take this score and put it over, make a horror film and put this score over the top of it. It works.
Totally works.
Absolutely. After Morris died in 2018, Brooks summed it all up perfectly. He said he was my emotional right arm. Music tells you what to feel, and he knew what I wanted you to feel.
Oh, wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Lovely. Need a hand, John? No, I've got one.
Have one?
I have one.
So a fitting score for a movie drenched in 30s monster movie nostalgia, matching the visuals perfectly.
Definitely.
Finally, a cinematographer who'd been in the biz since the 40s.
Yeah.
Gerald Hirschfeld. Westy, it's over to you.
Love Hirschfeld's work in this. It's so good. Arthur Edison, who did Frankenstein in 1931, he was the DP on that. John J. Mescal was the DP on Bride of Frankenstein in 1935. And those two are the main sources of inspiration. And to get them to and say, right, well, I'm going to do this in 1974, most labs had stopped processing black and white film stock at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's using diffusion on the lenses here. This was shot on the Panavision standard prime, so they put a lot of diffusion on it to get that soft focus look, especially on the close-ups, which is very much universal. The camera was made in 1967, right? So it was fairly new at the time. It was a Panavision PSR R200, which was lighter and it was easier to kind of move around to the earlier camera. So it was quite a modern look. I mean, to give you some idea, Star Wars was shot on that camera, Empire Strikes Back, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Close Encounters, Live and Let Die, right?
Wow.
So you've got these really punchy, really colourful, really energetic films, and they take that kind of equipment and then bring it back down with his use of lighting, his use of blocking, his use of framing is just so classic and so methodical and so well thought through. And I think it was almost too good that I think Brooks would have just went, is this a comedy or is this just so straight? I think it might have been too good. at that point, because it really, really sells this film for me.
It really does.
The work by Hirschfeld cannot be understated by anything. The writing can be spot on. You can get all the right props. You can have the absolute set design, spend 2.2 million. But if you're not lighting that right, if you're not shooting that right, if you're not doing that, like I said, the train goodbye, if you're not backlighting that and making that smoke work and just having them strips of light coming through on the male character and the female character, if you're not sitting with them in the bed at the end at the climax of the film, for the want of a better phrase, but they're sat and there's just that beautiful strip of light that's just highlighting just that moment that you need. The monster, the way that's lit, it's low down to make him look taller. There's all of these different techniques, and all of this is brought. He's just having an absolute headache, but that's what makes the film work, because it's so seriously shot, it's so beautifully shot, it's so well lit, it's so well thought through. That's what makes it funny.
Oh, it does.
Because the humour comes through that. And if it wasn't serious, and if it wasn't shot by a genius and knew exactly what he was doing, and he's not parodying anything, he's not parodying, he's shooting this as serious as if he's going to shoot, another, like the third in the Frankenstein series.
Yeah.
Given this type of assignment to have that, I would, on the back of my mind, thinking, I'm just parodying something here. I'm not really making anything new or anything fresh, but he's elevated to absolute
really
classic films and made a comedy out of it. It's astonishing work.
It really is, yeah. Such a class act.
Yeah.
The depth and texture of the set and the location are brought to life by Hirschfeld, I think. These places feel real, they feel lived in. It really feels like this is his shot to make a universal horror movie. Mm-hmm. Brooks and Wilder can take care of the gags. I don't think Hirschfeld's bothered about that at all. He wants to make this look and feel and act like a classic gothic horror movie. Like
exactly. Yeah, he should not have gone this hard.
No, he didn't need to.
He didn't need to go this hard, but he did.
No. And he does all of that by utilising, I think, all of the frame. There isn't a wasted inch. Brooks went big on the production design, like we said, and Hirschfeld really basks in it. I think particularly, like I said near the start, when Frederick enters the castle, the scale and the authenticity is breathtaking in that wide shot.
Yeah, it's unreal.
And the lab scenes, everything in sharp focus, it just feels legit. Of course, because the maze and crew work and Ken Strickfaden's electric genius, but Hirschfeld makes it look and feel like a real working lab. Mm-hmm. And to shoot black and white, that's doing so much of the heavy lifting. Every shadow, every shaft of light through a castle window, every smoke-filled forest, Hirschfeld treats them with the reverence of someone who genuinely wants to be making a 30s monster picture.
Absolutely, 100%.
Rich contrast, the blacks are deep, and you get those classic gothic compositions, figures framed in doorways, light and carving up the sky, faces half lit by candles. I mean, it's classic stuff, but it really is, it's classical stuff. Beautiful work.
It's classical stuff, but it's really refined.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. He's absolutely delivered what needs to be. The framing, the use of slow push-ins, very deliberate camera moves. Like, I love that opening where it moves in and around the coffin to get that close-up of the will. That's amazing, but it's not done too fast, because that would take you out of it. And then to perfectly replicate the lighting, the use of candles, use of torches, use of shadows. That bit when Frederick and Igor escaping through the streets with a coffin. I've said this when I talk about Brooks and the film in general, but take out the jokes. If you didn't know, you'd be convinced you're actually watching a Frankenstein film with serious intent from the 30s. That's how good this looks.
Yeah, it really does.
Hirschfeld came to the project pretty much by chance. He just turned down another film, which remains nameless, that he had a bad feeling about, and he was sitting at home with no follow-up work lined up when Brooks called him in for an interview the very next day.
Yeah, Hirschfeld walked into the room expecting kind of a technical conversation, but instead Brooks immediately started winding him up about inventing fake errors in films Hirschfeld had shot. So he asked, for example, whether the white tub in Diary of a Mad Housewife had been overbright. Hirschfeld took the criticism seriously at first and got more and more upset before he realised there isn't a bathtub in Diary of a Mad Housewife.
So Hirschfeld eventually fired back with one more derogatory remark about my work and I'll leave. And the two of them broke up laughing and were on the same wavelength immediately.
Lovely. I think what's interesting is that Brooks had clearly studied Hirschfeld's work very closely enough to fabricate believable sounding errors.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing, yeah.
By 1973, Hirschfeld had built up a CV that was an unusually strong bridge between dramatic black and white work like Failsafe in 64 and prestige colour naturalism like Diary of a Mad Housewife, Child's Play, the Lou Met film, not the 80s horror film.
Yes,
not Chucky.
I would also,
yeah. Well, this was exactly the kind of dual-track technical experience a 1974 black and white pastiche of a 1931 horror film was going to need, as far as Brooks was concerned.
Yeah. Initially, though, Hirschfeld pushed back on the black and white photography. He suggested to open the film in black and white for the Transylvanian sequences, then segue into colour once the story moves to modern day. I think it was. And Brooks held firm, and Hirschfeld came around to it within a few days of seeing the dailies. He admitted later the black and white wasn't just appropriate, it was actively making the film better. Absolutely true, yeah.
Clearly, yes, definitely.
Yeah. It's about texture and about depth, isn't it, over anything else?
100%.
But there was a light problem mid-shoot. Brooks pulled Hirschfeld aside and said that he wasn't happy with the look of the film, but this made Hirschfeld erupt. You and Jean screened me Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein before we started. And you said, remind me of the look of the originals, and that's what I'm giving you. Brooks argued that he wanted to satirize the look of the original films. Hirschfeld swore this was never explained to him, but Wilder backed his argument up.
Nah, there you go.
Yeah. To get over this little issue, Hirschfeld brightened close-ups so the comedy would read on the actors' faces easy, but kept the wide shots moody, James Whale style. He also got the production designer to repaint the cavernous 30-foot sets in lighter tones to help bounce the light off.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He also had to supervise changes in the Fox Labs black and white processing mid-shoot because they hadn't processed, like you said, Westy, a black and white film in years, and they didn't know how to do it.
Fair enough, yeah. That's dead. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And Castle Frankenstein had no electricity except in the lab, which meant Hirschfeld had to light most of the film as if every room was being illuminated by oversized fireplaces, candelabras, and wall torches. The wall torches and fireplaces were piped with propane gas and then plastered over to look like 2-foot thick stonework.
Real logs in the fireplaces were a fire hazard, which you couldn't control, so the production used concrete logs. The flickering firelight effect bouncing on walls and faces was created by silk strips of fabric fluttering in front of out-of-camera lamps, with brightness raised and lowered on the dimmer.
Great. I mean, you just take it for granted, don't you? But it's so technically proficient.
Yeah.
And intricate, all of this work.
It's so intricate, yeah.
Each candle in the film was a hollow aluminium pipe with a real wax candle stuck on top and a 100-watt projection bulb concealed in an open slot just below the candle. An electric wire ran up the actors' sleeves and down their trouser leg to a hidden dimmer offstage.
Right.
So when an actor passed by the camera, they had to rotate the candle in their hand mid-walk, so the bulb's open side switched from facing inward, lighting their face, to facing outward, lighting the wall. Hirschfeld said that the trick candle was a touchy affair that required a few extra takes.
Yeah, would have, yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Halfway through the picture, Brooks ran into Hirschfeld in the lunch line and said, Jerry, I'm glad I didn't fire you 4 weeks ago. Hirschfeld smiled and thought to himself, Mel, you're lucky I didn't quit 4 weeks ago.
Brilliant.
And we're lucky he didn't as well, because John Morris, Ken Strickfaden, Dale Hennessy, Dorothy Jenkins and William Tuttle all deserve their place in the spotlight for bringing a beautiful balance and weight to this film.
Oh, definitely.
Outstanding crew work.
Unbelievable.
The end.
With the monster on the loose, he visits a little girl and tucks her away safely into bed, a lovely callback to the 1931 film.
Yeah.
Before smashing his way into an old, lonely blind man's house for soup, wine, and cigars.
Cigars.
Over to you, Westy.
What a moment. What a moment. I think there's this and Putting on the Ritz that people remember the most about this film. I certainly do anyway. What the fuck's Gene Hackman doing in here? Straight off the back of the French Connection. Hardest man in Hollywood. And he just wants to try his hand at this. I always forget he's in this until he looks up. Even when he's looking down, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, it's Gene Hackman. Of course it is. A visitor is all I ask. It starts so good. He's just excellent, isn't he? He's just excellent. And it really sets up. It's excellent. Like, this is years and years and years before Tenenbaums, but I see so much of that performance in this.
Very much.
It's so like his
delivery.
Just his delivery. It's always there. It's just the speed that he does things. So the monster turns up and he's like, "What's your name?" I didn't get that.
That's so good. That's so good. I didn't get that.
I didn't get that. It's just it's brilliant Hackman, isn't it? What's your name? I didn't get that. It's fucking excellent. And
why would he get it?
Exactly.
He just goes, and he's right next to him.
Yeah, I didn't know you were on mute. And it's like just like, not really, but he's just like trying to make everything harmonious and just trying to make this whole scene work. When it cuts that wide shot, his performance on them wides is just absolutely second to none. And how many gags can you fit into like 4 minutes, 4 minutes? It's just relentless. And it's just his delivery so good. I mean, spilling that soup, that's hilarious. Just carrying it over. Yeah. And it's just the next one, like some wine with your soup? And then he's pouring the wine out. Yeah, he's like, wait. And then it's like, well, a toast. And he just smashes the cup. Comes from nowhere. And then he brings out the cigars. And it's like, I've been saving these as cigars. And it's that little delivery. Doesn't need to go that hard, like I've said. It's so brilliant. I've been saving these. And just these little bits of dialogue. And he's like, look, I'll show you. Fire's our friend. And he lights it. Boyle's got his thumb out, so he mistakes his thumb for the cigar. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's just, when he goes, don't inhale until the tip glows. I love that. Just giving him advice, don't inhale till the tip glows. It's like, well, how do you know that the tip's going to glow if you're a blind man? Like, all of these, the depth to this performance is absolutely brilliant. But lighting his thumb on fire, and like I've said about Boyle, like his performance here, his timing here, that the length of time he waits, and he does this little move that I've just watched it again this afternoon, and it's so good. His thumb's on fire, and he's staring at it, and he goes, just a little he just enjoys it for like a split second. He goes and then just screams, pulls it out and then just starts screaming. It's absolutely fantastic. That's him out the door and it's like, come back, I was going to make espresso. It's just, still got the cigar. Wonderful performance from Hackman. So nuanced, so brilliant, so out of character for him to come in and do this. What a scene this is. It's so funny.
I think there's a nice bit of history playing out here because Peter Boyle was offered the role of Popeye Doyle.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
And he didn't take it because he faced a backlash from his performance in Joe, and he didn't want to play like this kind of like bigoted anti-hero.
That's right, yeah.
So
Definitely.
then Gene Hackman came in, so the two of them sharing this scene is really special.
Yeah, this was in Bride of Frankenstein, wasn't it, where he visits the blind man, and that's also
that's right.
kind of,
Who's playing the violin.
Yeah, it's like, it is kind of nearly shot for shot, the intro of it, but just the way that this is played up is so brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that scene in Bride is crazy because they end up being great mates and they do end up smoking cigars together and talking. And
yeah, brilliant, yeah.
So, yeah, like you're saying, Gene Hackman, 1974, Oscar winner, 3 times nominated, top of his game.
Yeah.
What's he doing in this scene? It's
I'm
crazy.
so pleased he's in it.
Well, the reason he's in is because of tennis. Because Hackman and Wilder were occasional tennis partners, and Hackman heard about the film through their games together. He told Wilder he'd been wanting to try a comedy for a while, and he basically begged for a part. And he actually said he'd play the blind hermit for free if it meant he got to do it, which of course is exactly what he ended up doing.
Yeah, allegedly he didn't get paid for it.
Amazing. Like I was saying, the wide shots seem to be quite well played out, but there seems to be a little bit something wrong with the close-ups, and I think that's due to, there was some reshoots required due to makeup continuity issues. Hackman wasn't available for those. So, for example, the hand spill in the soup is Brooks. So I think there would have been a couple more of them close-ups where it's Brooks involved.
Yeah. Peter Boyle wore a protective cup during this moment to protect his vital areas.
Yeah, just
fair enough.
Just make it cold.
Yeah.
Just make it
just
cold.
put a bit of dry ice on it or something.
Yeah.
The final line is just so funny. I was going to make espresso. It is the bit that everyone remembers. Hackman screaming, like, where are you going? Before tenderly saying, I was going to make espresso. That line was an ad-lib by Hackman and everyone just fell about laughing with it. It's so
great.
Good. Yeah.
And the reason the scene fades to black so abruptly straight after is because Hackman could only deliver that line once without breaking. Everyone fell about laughing and had no choice but to use the first take.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Even Hackman couldn't hold it together. It's funny.
Such a special scene, though.
Yeah, it's superb.
And after the monster smashes down the blind man's door, he's left to roam the streets, following the lonesome sound of the violin that he loves so much. But it's a trap, and he's knocked out yet again by Frederick, Inga, and Igor. And there's a beautiful scene where the monster is chained up and Frederick is doing the honourable thing. He's going in there because love is the only thing that can save that poor creature. He gives it explicit instructions not to open the door, even at the cost of his own life.
Amazing.
But as soon as that monster wakes up, he turns his tail and is pleading at the door, whispering like, let me out, get me the hell out of here. And open the goddamn door, I'll kick your rotten heads in.
You don't know a joke when you hear one?
And when that doesn't work, he appeals to the monster's need for love, and he starts off so beautifully. There's at least 7 seconds of silence while he's thinking on his feet, and then, "Hello, handsome." And it cuts to Boyle, who does that classic thing of looking around the room for the handsome person that he's speaking about.
Brilliant.
"You're a good-looking fellow, you know that?" And then Wilder goes on this outrageous speech about jealousy, the Olympian ideal, and that the monster isn't evil. Frederick cradling his face in his hands, kissing his extraordinary big forehead. And this is the two sides of Wilder that is evident throughout the film. He's able to easily portray like this tender whisper right next to absolute wide-eyed mania.
Yeah.
When he's talking about showing everybody that he can walk, that they're going to make the greatest single contribution to science, and the creation of fire. Look at Peter Boyle's face in that moment. He's completely puzzled by what's going on. He stopped crying, and his eyes are just looking around like, what the fuck?
Brilliant.
And to finish the scene off, Wilder really, really tops out when he's screaming that his name is Frankenstein, not Frankenstein. Yeah, and you can see the vein in his forehead bulging. He's shouting so hard, absolute conviction in that performance.
Yeah.
And there's another performance with conviction coming right after this. Isn't that right, Matt?
Absolutely.
There certainly is. I mean, this scene, this musical performance. Like, one of the incredible things about this scene, maybe the most, is that this has defined that song forever. I mean,
absolutely.
This song is written by Irving Berlin, one of the greatest ever songwriters, one of his signature songs, and you cannot do a proper straight-faced rendition of that song now. No. You can't do it because you can try, but people will just be expecting you to go in the middle of it. Or they'll do it and put you off. That's how good this scene is. And when it comes along, it's so unexpected because it is that cliched Frankenstein moment where Frankenstein is going to demonstrate how this creature is intelligent and it's not a monster. So how's he going to do that here? Oh, right, a song and dance number, is it? I mean, it just comes out of nowhere. Yeah. Everyone in that theatre is so like enraptured and on edge as to what they're going to see. And I mean, Wilder in this bit, because Frederick is so pompous and pretentious as ever until he says, "May I now present a cultured, sophisticated man about town?" And then they're straight into it. And the creature, I mean, it just goes from stomping on the floor to being surprisingly light on its feet at times and getting in. And I love that moment when Frederick just chucks him under the chin because he's so proud of him. Like, you.
I love him.
I love him.
It's all going so well. And the audience are loving it until that bull breaks and the creature starts freaking out. But like, how quickly does that audience turn on him though? Like, we're not having it now. We're loving it like 10 seconds ago. And where did they get the cabbages from? Like just tons of cabbages being thrown at him.
Crap.
Yeah.
Just stage dive into the audience as well.
It's ridiculous.
It's when Wilder just keeps going.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, with the cane.
Well, you made me look stupid. Made me look like a fool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of comedy, it's as iconic as it gets, and for good reason.
Yeah, superb.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But unbelievably, Brooks didn't want to put this sequence in the film.
It's crazy.
Wilder wrote it into the script really early. Brooks read it and he was absolutely horrified. He thought it was just far too silly. I mean, this is Mel Brooks saying this is far too silly.
Yeah.
His pitch back to Wilder was this: we're saluting Mary Shelley, we're saluting James Whale, we're saluting Universal Pictures, sweating stones, castles, lightning, laboratories. If we have the monsters sing and dance, it'll just become silly and tear the whole tone of the picture in half. I can understand where he's coming from.
On the page, it would have seemed that way, definitely.
Yes.
But Wilder, understandably, fought him really hard on it. According to him, he argued for about 20 minutes until he was red in the face, and then suddenly Brooks just said, "Okay, it's in." And Wilder said, "Why did you put me through that?" And Brooks's reply was, "Because I wasn't sure if it was right or not, but I knew if you didn't fight for it, it'd be wrong. And if you really argued, I knew it was right."
And Brooks has actually told that story slightly differently. In his version, he made a deal with Wilder. "We'll shoot it, but when you see it cut together with the rest of the film in the dailies, you'll want to cut it yourself." So they shot it, and of course, when Brooks watched the dailies, he immediately knew it was the best scene in the entire film. He said he later apologised profusely to Wilder on opening night.
Yeah, great. When filming this scene, they had no idea what the monster was going to do for the actual lyrics. Bo had to make a decision in the moment.
Yeah.
And what came out of his mouth was that. That's so funny. It never fails to get a laugh from me, that.
No, it's
Oh,
so
amazing.
good.
A confident man about town, and that's his singing voice.
And knowing how funny the scene was, Brooks reportedly warned the extras that anyone who broke into laughter would be arrested.
Arrested.
By who?
Not fired, arrested.
Inspector Kemp.
Yeah.
So instead of presenting a cultured, sophisticated man about town, Frederick's experiment is in tatters and the monster is captive yet again.
Yet again.
Yeah.
The final stretch of the film sees Frederick's financier, Elizabeth, show up unannounced before being taken by the monster, who has escaped yet again.
Mm-hmm.
And we're riding the train right to the end as Frankenstein and his monster trade certain assets, shall we say.
Yes, shall we say.
Over to you first, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I said in the writing, I think there's moments in this film that are definitely more Mel Brooks than Gene Wilder, and this is 100% one of them. The creature's got Elizabeth. It's making its move on her. It's looking really menacing. She's initially terrified, as she would be, until she realizes what he's packing. And it's like, yes, Mel, I get it. He's got an enormous Schwanzstücke. Yes, that's the level you're going for. That tends to be his level a lot of the time. And it's a moment, I'll be honest, it doesn't really land for me all that well compared to everything else, which is really clever. What rescues it, though, is, again, just how good Madeline Kahn is. I mean, she can make any scene funny. Like when that violin strikes up in the distance and they're having the post-coital cigarettes, and he goes off towards her. Like her reaction, you men are all alike. 7 or 8 quick ones, out with the boys to boast and brag. You better keep your mouth shut. Oh, I think I love him. Just amazing. Totally rescues this scene for me.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a trained singer with a great ear for music, and Brooks gave her room to make some of her own choices on the musical moment. The big song, the song a character sings after an encounter with the monster, or during the encounter with the monster, was originally going to be Cheek to Cheek.
Right.
But Khan pushed for Our Sweet Mystery of Life instead, specifically because she wanted a song that opened with an ah sound.
Right.
Right.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. Great.
Which makes it funny.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
It does, yeah.
And then after this, another moment where the monster is lured back to the castle, knocked out clean again, chained up again, but this time with the plan to equalize the imbalance in his cerebral spinal fluid. He'll be as right as rain. Another scene which looks incredibly authentic. Ken Strickfaden's gizmos and gadgets doing backflips and electricity bouncing around them, with Igor furiously flicking switches and turning knobs. It may be a little confusing what's actually happening here on first watch and second, third, fourth, fifth watch, but it looks incredible.
Yeah.
And it's great to see Inspector Kemp for one more scene.
Yes.
Bursting through the door with some angry villagers, using his wooden arm as a battering ram and ruining the equipment. But the monster stops them in their tracks with an and he said, "Who are you?" "I am the monster." Yes, I can see you are the monster. Yeah. But he's got this really articulate speech about love and loneliness and his creator. And with that, Kemp's former sharpness is completely blunted. This has been his task. This is his job.
Yep.
And as soon as the monster starts talking, all of that's forgotten.
Yep. Immediately.
He offers his hand in friendship. And it's an obvious gag, but it's a really hilarious moment when the monster pulls it off and that popping sound effect. Oh, shit. To the lumberyard.
During the transference scene, the monster becomes an articulate thinker. This was more in line with Mary Shelley's original novel than the Universal films. In the book, the monster is articulate and can read and write.
Yeah, I think he also asks Frankenstein to make him a mate as well.
Yeah, he does,
Which is where the premise for Bride of Frankenstein comes from.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. We're at the end of the film, and we have, the monster becomes an articulate thinker. So what's Froderick going to become? We shall see. What could he possibly have got from the monster? I wonder. And I wonder if this is Mel Brooks' input, because what a strange way to end the film. But it is great. It's just very strange.
It's
like
really
Matt
strange.
said, we've had all of these really wonderful moments. And I feel like Wilder's got to the point now where he's like, you know what? I've said what I've wanted to say. I've pulled this off. Let Mel have the last 3 minutes of the film or whatever else. It all feels a little bit tacked on. Keep the hat on type of thing. It's just we've lost all of this intelligence that we've built up all the way through the film. It just seems to be like, oh, we'll just tape this on the end of it then. And that pushing right into the eyes just seems a little bit last minute. That doesn't seem planned at all. It
does feel a little last minute. I think it's quite unsettling. I think it's probably the most scary moment in the film.
Yeah.
You're right. It feels sloppy.
It feels really sloppy considering what we've been through and how we've thought through and how precise everything's been up until that moment. I do love that cut to Igor sitting on the roof playing that massive horn thing. That's really funny. That's brilliant. I would have just liked to have end on that. Like you could imply that without them getting into bed, and then that just goes a little bit too far for me. But cut to the fire, her singing, wonderful. That's great. You know, it does work on certain levels, but it's not the level that we've been used to.
Yeah, I
if you
agree.
know what I mean.
I'm not wild about this at all.
They've left the back door open, I think, a little bit, and it's just the breeze has got in, and it's not as comfortable as I have been throughout the whole film.
No. Yeah.
It is fine, but it feels like something I could have written, and I didn't want to feel like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And Madeline Kahn's Elizabeth in the final reveal in her wedding nightgown with the vertical white streaked towering beehive wig is a homage to Elsa Lanchester's Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that her performance does rescue it, to be honest.
Totally does. When she's kicking
great.
her slippers off, and it's so good. That is really funny. I would have preferred it just ended on that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah.
So Frederick and Inga are together at last. The monster and Elizabeth are together, but for how long, considering his lack of equipment? We don't know. A satisfying way to wrap up a classic comedy.
It's a way to end.
It's a way
to end it. Yeah.
Satisfying for Inga.
Yes.
She's very satisfied, yes.
Clearly somebody's satisfied.
Yeah.
Reception and awards.
The first cut of Young Frankenstein was a fairly serious problem. Brooks screened a rough cut on the Fox lot that ran over 2 hours and 20 minutes. The audience were restless, the laughs were patchy, and Brooks knew he had a lot of work to do.
Yep.
And Brooks closed that showing by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, you've just seen a 2 hour and 20-minute failure. In less than 3 weeks, I want you back here to see a 95-minute smash hit movie." And then he locked himself in the cutting room with his editor, John Howard.
Wow.
And what Brooks realised in there was that the film actually had too much comedy in it. Joke after joke after joke with no breathing room. So he started cutting. He removed the weaker jokes and spaced out the moments where he wanted the audience to relax. He said it was about getting the rhythm of the movie right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the best.
Yeah, definitely.
He didn't do all the editing work in a single month of the Fox lot. He took the rough cut to multiple cities, ran 4 or 5 different test screenings, took notes after each one. So the process was edit screen until he tightened it right up.
Right, good, yeah. Young Frankenstein was made for $2.78 million. It opened in mid-December 1974 in the same week as The Towering Inferno and The Godfather Part 2.
Incredible.
And it cleaned up. The final domestic gross was $86.2 million. Really, really good.
Yeah. Massive.
And this made 1974 a unique year for Mel Brooks and for Hollywood in general. Blazing Saddles came out in February, Young Frankenstein came out in December, so within a single calendar year, he had 2 films finished in the top 5 at the US box office. Blazing Saddles at number 1 with $119.6 million, and Young Frankenstein at number 4 with, as we've said, $86.2 million.
Wow. Hot property, Brooks, yeah.
Yeah, hot property.
Yeah.
This is the first and to date last time that a director has had 2 films in the top 5 box office hits in the same year.
Wow.
Oh, really? Wow.
That's impressive. Can't see that being done again.
No.
Surely not.
No, I was stunned when I read that. I mean, that is a real record breaker.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
That's
incredible.
Like Spielberg doing Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean that is the greatest achievement ever, as far as I'm concerned, in the year.
Yeah.
But Schindler's List, I think it got pipped by Mrs. Doubtfire, so it wasn't in the top 5.
Yeah. Wow, amazing.
The film was very well received critically. Isn't that right, Matt?
It was. Pauline Kael in her review said, "The movie works because it has the Mary Shelley story to lean on. We know that the monster will be created and will get loose. And Brooks makes a leap up as a director because although the comedy doesn't build, he carries the story through."
Absolutely. Agreed, Pauline.
Yeah, definitely. And Vincent Canby, writing in the New York Times, said, Mel Brooks' funniest, most cohesive comedy to date. It would be misleading to describe Young Frankenstein as astoundingly witty, but it's a great deal of lowbrow fun of the sort that Mr. Brooks specialises in.
He certainly does that.
Yeah.
And finally, our man in the fields, Roger Ebert. What do you think he gave Young Frankenstein out of 4, chaps?
4. Let's say he loved it.
3.5.
3.5. Matt, out of the park.
Oh,
love it. 4 out of 4. Just like that.
Nice.
Ebert said, Mel Brooks is at home with Young Frankenstein, his most disciplined and visually inventive film. It also happens to be very funny.
Yes.
Parody films and comedies don't generally fare well at the Academy Awards, but Young Frankenstein punched above its weight. It received 2 Oscar nominations, Best Adapted Screenplay for Brooks and Wilder, and Best Sound.
Right, great.
Production design, nothing.
I know.
Costume design, nothing.
Crazy.
Cinematography.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it did pick up nominations at the 1975 Golden Globes. Cloris Leachman was nominated for Best Actress in Musical or Comedy for Frau Blücher, and Madeline Kahn was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Sadly, neither one.
Slightly odd thing about that is those nominations that Khan actually has more screen time than Leachman in
I
the
was
film.
going to say, Leachman's not lead, really, is she?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
In 2000, the American Film Institute ranked Young Frankenstein number 13 on its list of 100 funniest American films of all time. And in 2003, the film was inducted into the Library of Congress National Film Registry. Amazing.
Yeah. So
Love that.
still impressing people.
course it
Definitely.
is.
And now it has 95% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes and 92% from audiences, and 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's a high score for
Yeah,
IMDb. that one.
big numbers. Yeah.
So I don't think any of us are surprised that it didn't sweep the Oscars, but with a decent bit of Academy recognition, positive reviews, and being a box office blockbuster, Young Frankenstein was a success on all fronts.
Yes.
Sequels and influence.
No sequels to Young Frankenstein, but following the success of his Broadway adaptation of The Producers, Brooks adapted Young Frankenstein for the stage in 2007. It wasn't the cultural juggernaut that The Producers turned out to be, but it had a respectable run and picked up 3 Tony nominations as well.
Yeah.
But in the years since its release, where have you seen Young Frankenstein's influence? What do you think its legacy is? The movie, that is, not the stage show, of course.
Yes, of course. Be a short conversation, that wouldn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Matt, your thoughts?
I mean, there's just so many iconic moments in this that have become its legacy. The Blind Hermit scene, putting on the Ritz, obviously. I mean, that turned up in The Bride, the Maggie Gyllenhaal film from earlier this
Did
year.
it really, right?
Yeah,
Right,
it gets
really.
referenced in that. And I think it's one that really established Mel Brooks as the modern day master of the spoof. I mean, Blazing Saddles is part of that as well, of course, but
Yeah.
everything follows on from this. You don't have this, you don't have Airplane, you don't have Airplane, you don't have the Naked Gun. You know, and I think that's probably its biggest legacy. This is how you do a spoof. And I think also one that really struck me just the last time I watched it, that scene, the charade scene, like the bit after that when he sits, I go down to talk to him, I will not be angry. That really struck me as like Basil Fawlty and Manuel. Those times when Basil really
Yes.
lays into
Yeah.
Manuel for smacking him over the head, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good call.
That's a good call, yeah.
Yeah, and there's another link from Pythons to Mel Brooks,
Exactly.
Mel Brooks to
Yeah.
Pythons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
cyclical.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some massive influence since. And I think the likes of the Rocky Horror Picture Show that came out in 75
Great.
has real elements of this, especially the musical numbers put into it. Steve Martin got a hold of this. You've got like The Man with Two Brains that came out in 1983. I think
Yeah.
it's very much influenced
Very
by
much.
this. And I see lots of this in Beetlejuice. I see
Right,
lots
right.
of the tone
Okay, yeah,
going
great.
through it. It's very, very similar in that kind of respect. And then Weird Science, obviously, a massive rip-off. One of my
Definitely.
very favourites. I mean, Mel Brooks made this work. He went back in and he recut it and he made it work.
Mhm.
But at the start of this, they wanted to make something because they loved it. I think
absolutely.
that's the message here, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the legacy of the film is huge, and I think it works on a few levels. I think it's the gold standard for genre parody. It's in the conversation of one of the greatest. Anyone making a comedy that affectionately sends up a specific style of filmmaking, they're all working from this blueprint.
Yeah.
The trick of playing it completely straight, treating the genre with reverence, letting the comedy grow out of the seriousness rather than fighting against it. That lesson is everybody's been studying ever since. Yeah. It also gives us Gene Wilder, the director, a year later. Like we said, he did The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother, featured Marty Feldman and Madeline Kahn, basically the Young Frankenstein gang reassembled.
Yeah.
He went on to direct The World's Greatest Love, then Haunted Honeymoon, similar kind of thing
Yeah,
in
similar
86,
vibe,
again with Feldman.
Yeah.
Mixed results on that one. None of them really hit the heights of Young Frankenstein, but you can absolutely trace Wilder's directing career back to what he learned watching Brooks on this set.
Yes.
And also, I really believe this is not tongue-in-cheek. I think it's one of the great cinematic adaptations of the Frankenstein story.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why not, yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, yeah.
It's in the conversation of the 1931 one and Bride of Frankenstein. I put this in there with them two. I don't think anything else since comes close.
No, fair enough.
No.
So our legacy is strong now as it's ever been. Young Frankenstein will always be in the conversation of best comedy ever made.
Yeah.
It's up there, yeah.
All the right movies ranking.
Finally, it's time to rate Young Frankenstein and score it out of 10. And I'm starting off here. It was my choice. I'm going to go. Here it comes.
Okay.
I was always excited to return back to this one, and I'm so pleased that we did. It's a film with a great production story with such reverence for what came before it, and is often overlooked for the talent working behind the camera
Yeah.
to really make the film what it is.
Yeah.
It's full of some of the best comedy that Hollywood's ever produced. It's got one of the best comedy casts ever assembled. I'd argue it is the greatest comedy cast ever assembled.
Yeah.
It's got one of the greatest comic performances ever in Gene Wilder, and it's Mel Brooks' best film. I mean, these things are stacking up here.
What more do you need?
Yeah.
I do have a few nickels. There are a couple of gags that don't land for me. There are a few too many nods to the camera. I'm also not wholly satisfied with the notion that the monster can get away with a sexual attack because he's packing a lot of heat in the power zone.
Yeah.
That leaves a bad taste.
Fair enough.
So it's not a perfect 10, but it's very close. 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Nice.
Just for what it represents, what it is, its legacy.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Westy, what about you?
I mean, I'm very, very similar. There's just so much of this film that I absolutely adore. I just think it's just a wonderful achievement from two of the greats of the time and even now. I think it really is a special film. It really is one to watch, and I can watch it with, my kids, and they love it. I love it, and all ages can get away with this. But like you, look, I do have some issues. The last kind of 20 minutes of the film does seem to kind of lose a little bit of pace, and it does kind of seem to lose its way and unravel slightly towards that. And, I kind of get lost with that. And I get to that moment, especially like, when after we get that really eloquent speech from Peter Boyle, when we get that eloquent speech from the monster, I just feel like I want to hit rewind and go back to the start and watch it again.
Yes.
At that point, and for that reason, it's not going to be a perfect 10 for me either. But it is also very close. It's up there. It's a 9 for me. It's a wonderful, wonderful film.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, great score. Matt, what about you?
All singing from the same hymn sheet here, really. I've always had a real love for this. It absolutely tickles my funny bone. It takes a very specific genre of horror that I love, and it gets so much humour out of it. But at the same time, it's not taking the piss out of it. Because if that's all it was doing, I just don't think I would like this at all. But
No,
the way
you
it
wouldn't.
looks,
Definitely not.
definitely not. The way it looks, the production design, they are all on point, and there's a real tightness to the story and the performances that you simply don't get in any of the Mel Brooks film. It's definitely his best film. And Gene Wilder needs so much credit for that, for what he does on screen and what he does on the page as well. But it is the same issue that you guys have. We've just talked about it. By the end, the jokes stopped landing. They were a bit cringy. They were a bit off. And I think what it comes down to is I don't think Mel Brooks really knows how to end a film. Blazing Saddles just...
Certainly doesn't with Saddles.
Well, no, breaks the fourth wall, collapses into nonsense. In this one, ends with a dick joke because that's what he thinks is funny. And it's just a little bit of a letdown considering how good the rest of it is. So for me, it is the only issue that sticks out. So this one brings it down just a little bit to a 9.5.
9.5 as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very close in all three scores there.
Yeah.
Our fourth and final score comes from our trusted Patreon community. Some mini reviews to start us off with. First comes from Matt Walters. Matt says, has to be a 10. For the songs, the thumb on fire, put the candle back, and let's face it, even the roll in the hay joke works. Homage and parody at its finest, and Gene Wilder's hair is extraordinary.
Yes, it is.
On permanent rotation in my house when I was a kid, and I still know all the words.
Yeah.
Nice grouping.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice, Matt.
And
Very
Hackman.
nice.
We'll have to mention Hackman as well. It's all in the genes, isn't it?
Next up, Steve says, I saw Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles in the theatre on their release in 74. Yes, I'm that old. Both great films, but Young Frankenstein with Leachman, Feldman, and Gar adding the extra touches put it in my favourite comedy of all time. What knockers?
Nice.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
Steve.
Thanks, Steve. It's a nice piece.
This is a nice piece.
This is a nice piece.
And our third review comes from Shazza. And Shazza says, I think this is Shazza's favourite film of all time. She says, 10 times the length of Westie's lists when answering Patreon questions. My all-time number one fave and most watched film. Blucher. The all quote in the film's great. Excellent.
Yeah, great.
Excellent scores. 3 10s on the spin. So, 3 full marks from the Patreon community, and overall 80 RM Patreon score for Young Frankenstein was. What do you think, fellas?
Could it be a 10 from
It's going to
them?
be high. It could be. Nah, I'm going to say a 9.
I'll stick to 10. I'll take a punt on it.
Matt, what knockers? It is 10.
Oh,
It
wow.
is 10.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
10,
great.
a perfect 10 for Young
Wow.
Frankenstein.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Everybody has got so much affection for this film,
everyone
consider
loves
in the
it, to be
comments.
fair. Yeah.
And with all scores combined, that gives Young Frankenstein a whopping 38 out of 40.
Wow.
Oof.
It's a big
Can
one.
you believe it?
Yeah, it's a big one.
Brilliant stuff. Didn't expect that.
Not at all.
Wow.
And that is us done with Young Frankenstein, but we will be back in 2 weeks. Next on the show, it's John, Westy, and Mats. They'll be talking about Alfred Hitchcock's absolute classic, Stonewall Psycho.
Yes,
Yeah,
lovely.
there we go.
Can't wait for that one.
Wow.
Yeah, get your shower curtains drawn and your motels booked.
Yep.
That'll be brilliant.
Yep.
Before that, though, our studio head and director's chair patrons can hear the three fellas next week on Double Feature, where we're shining a light on the brilliant work of cinematographer Greg Fraser, specifically his work on Dune and The Batman, 2 huge modern visual achievements. 1 episode, 3 great guys, bound to be brilliant.
Well, we'll see. It'll be fantastic. If I can shut up for 5 minutes on that one.
I don't think I'll be on it. I'll just send a couple of notes.
You'll be there in spirit.
I'll be
man.
there in spirit.
In body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
feet
yeah.
up.
I'll be banging on about that one for a while.
That's fine.
And speaking of which, if you want to hear that double feature episode, head to patreon.com/alltherightmovies and join the Patreon community. You'll get the full back catalogue of this show beyond the most recent 20 episodes, plus the watch list for new releases and double feature for the films we're not quite ready to bring onto the main show yet. However,
Just yet.
Young Frankenstein was a former winner of that
It
show.
was indeed.
The format works.
It does.
It does.
There are over 200 episodes across all of our formats, 2 brand new shows every month, so well worth your time and money.
Yes,
is.
definitely.
And before we go, a very exciting announcement. We do have a book coming out in September. That is All the Right Movies, the stories and secrets behind the making of 25 iconic films. It's finally available for pre-order, and you can find that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, Indigo, independent bookshops, Books A Million, bookshop.org, and wherever you buy your books. As I said, it's due at the start of September, so get your pre-order in now and avoid any pre-Christmas disappointment, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Banger.
Incredibly proud of that one.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. 25 absolute classic films as well.
Yeah, bangers.
Yep.
And also, if you do like the podcast, and you've heard us talking about this before, but if you could leave us a review, 5 stars on whatever podcast platform that you listen to us, that would be much appreciated.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've listened this far, it must be 5 stars.
It must be. And,
be.
and this episode, 5 stars.
Yeah,
of
easy.
course.
Of course.
Come on. You can also find us across all the usual social media platforms. Tell us what you made of Young Frankenstein, your favourite gag, your favourite Brooks film, or just tell us what knockers in the timeline and tag us in.
Why not?
We always
We'd
love
love
to
that.
hear from
Yep.
you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as ever, we're on social media around the clock. We're on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. Our Making of Movie threads go up on X and Blue Sky, researched, much like our podcasts, absolutely thoroughly. Deep dives with an inch of their lives, with all information coming from at least 3 sources or from the mouths of the cast and crew.
Exactly, yeah.
So don't forget to check them, and everything we do is on alltherightmovies.com.
Sure is.
And that just about wraps us up on Young Frankenstein. We're off to put the candle back.
Yes.
We don't need a hand. Have one.
Have one already, yeah. We've had a nice, quiet chit.
Thanks so much
Thanks
for
for
listening,
listening,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll
Take
see you
care.
for Psycho in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, we all go a little mad sometimes.
To the lumberyard.
To the lumberyard.